I, the self-disciplined captain of the Uchiha police force. Chapter 1A Self-Disciplined Man. Ninja World. Fire Country. Konoha. This is a majestic and peaceful village. At least in the eyes of others, that's right. It was 51 years when the village was built. 3 years have passed since the Nine Tails Rebellion. Recently, nothing too conspicuous has happened in the village. 3 years have passed since the Nine Tails Rebellion. Since the death of the fourth generation, the third generation has returned to power, and Uchiha Itachi graduated from the ninja school at the age of 8, which is still attractive. However, I heard that the border between the Land of Thunder and the Land of Fire is still tense, and it seems that there is friction again. The impact of the Third Ninja World War is undoubtedly huge. This time the war also hollowed out Konoha's heritage, so that the former number 1 ninja village can no longer emit the light of the past. But this obviously has nothing to do with someone. Early morning. Hokage Yanyan. The two figures came one after the other. Among them, the man who was running in front stopped, lit a cigarette leisurely, and calmly looked at the village below. Standing in his position, you can easily overlook the whole picture of the village. I lost to you guy again. Staring at his back, the man behind him spoke with admiration and emotion. Uchiha Bai. There are not many rumors about him in the village. But it's more about spreading in women's circles. The discussion was all about his enchanting face. But only Might Guy knows. This man is so strong. Even Guy knew about some secret rumors. For example, a certain situation war in the Third Ninja World War. It was a brutal battle. The Uchiha clan suffered heavy losses. In that war, only Uchiha Fugaku and Uchiha Bai survived. Rumor has it that Uchiha Fugaku survived because of this guy. It is also because of this that after the Nine Tails Rebellion 3 years ago, Uchiha Fugaku still handed over the position of the captain of the guards to the other party even if the clansmen objected. No one knows the true strength of this man. But because of the daily morning exercises, Bai and Guy have a good relationship and they often exchange ideas. It's a pity that Guy never won. But this is not what Guy admires the other side the most. In his opinion, it is the place to admire Uchiha Bai the most. I heard that this guy has been training every day since he graduated from ninja school. 100 push-ups, 100 crunches, 100 squats, 10 kilometers row. Day and night, rain or shine. Thanks to this exercise, the figure of the man in front of him is also quite exaggerated. Even after the two of them worked out and agreed to go to the hot spring, Guy's eyes on Bai changed completely. That is the Eastern evil dragon that he will never be able to match. Listening to Bai, this evil dragon has already killed countless powerful enemies. But Guy obviously didn't understand what it meant. Bai didn't take Guy's words seriously. Lose to him. Isn't that what it should be? The man smiled slightly. His gentle aura and enchanting face made Guy shiver. That is to say, there are no female creatures nearby, otherwise this smile would have caused screams. Ding. Host completes daily training program. Congratulations to host +3 strength, +4 constitution, +5 endurance, +2 speed, +1 charisma, +2 spiritual power. Congratulations on the slight increase in host chakra volume. Congratulations to host's ninjutsu power for a slight increase. Is the amount of chakra and the power of ninjutsu improved today? Bai dropped the cigarette butt and touched his chin. But the stamina has improved again. Gee. It's really hard for the lady in the custom shop. Speaking of which, the woman at home is probably not easy. It is estimated that the guy behind Bai at this time would never have imagined that this man who looked extremely gentle and had a bright smile at this moment was actually thinking of such a thing, right? That's right. Uchiha Bai is a traverser. As a traveler, he naturally knows how dangerous it is to be in the Uchiha family. When I was young, I used to think about my future plans. However, the previous plans were all overturned after the awakening of Cheat after graduation. His cheat, called the strong self-discipline system, is called a simple and rude. Completing the daily training tasks can get basic attribute rewards. In addition to the basic rewards, 2 special entries will be improved. For example, the amount of chakra and the power of ninjutsu. Of course, these two special entries are not fixed. For example, yesterday's improvement was his muscle strength and illusion increase. Rely on the power of the system. After graduation, he worked hard. Over the years, his physical fitness has reached a level that is difficult for others to understand. Host: Uchiha Baiyi. Age: 19. Strength: 178. Speed: 214. Constitution: 189. Stamina: 201. Mental power: 162. Charm: unparalleled in the world. Note: this number is a unit of measurement, and 1 represents 1 Hitaki Kakashi. Yes. Trained for a few years. Even with the weakest power, Baiyi is already 178 times stronger than Kakashi. As for those hidden attributes and various ninjutsu taijutsu moves, Baiyi didn't bother to look at it. He only knew that even if it was the most basic fire style, if he used all his strength, it would be far superior to ordinary S-rank ninjutsu. As for being too strong and having no pursuit, no. Where did this go? Maybe at the top level in the ninja world, but what about other worlds? Since they have all passed through, how can only one world be enough? Who knows what kind of dangers will be faced in the future? Well, a traveler must always have a sense of crisis. So a Uchiha tribe who kept calm and insisted on daily self-discipline training was born. Especially 3 years ago, after he became the captain of the Uchiha Guard, he also activated a strong self-discipline mission. Open black lens bracket self-disciplined captain of the guard close black lens bracket. You are a self-disciplined strong man, and the guards you belong to naturally have to perform their due responsibilities. Mission requirements. Complete the guard patrol mission every day to maintain the peace of the village. The task is simple and crude. Fishing at work: if someone stirs up trouble, deal with it properly, just do what a captain should do. And this task is obviously a long-term task. According to the system, from taking office until he is too lazy to do this job, the longer he persists, the more rewarding the final outbreak will be. Of course, in the course of the task, it must be in accordance with the requirements. As long as no one is doing things in the village every day, he will also have special rewards at the daily settlement, such as blood, pupil power and the like. Since that day, a self-disciplined Konoha guard captain is born. As for the intrigue at the top of Konoha, Uchiha Madara has a saying that makes sense. How can adults and children be serious? Whoever you love, don't mess with him. It's okay, mess with him at your own risk. Close the system panel. Glancing at the time, he stretched. Baiyi said hello to Agai, and then turned and left under Agai's admiring gaze. Go home and take a shower. Pick up to work. It's a new day. Chapter 2: The Captain of the Guard and the Wife of the Dead Hokage. Baiyi's home is very big. After all, after the Nine Tails Rebellion, the Uchiha clan, where Baiyi belonged to, was arranged outside Konoha. This place is considered suburban. The people of the Uchiha family were naturally very dissatisfied with this. But this has nothing to do with Baiyi. He was eager to stay away from the central area, and stay away from those old yin who like to intrigue. And with his relationship with Uchiha Fugaku, it is not difficult to build a large enough mansion in the new clan. The benefits of a big house are many. For example, a large round bed large enough to accommodate 7 or 8 people. Another example is the spacious bathroom. At this time, Baiyi calmly rushed towards the water. Beside him, a woman with long hair and waist-length blushing, carefully performed the service. 3 years. She was used to this scene. Baiyi is also used to it. This is a man who will not wrong himself. In a world where strength is paramount, powerful people naturally like to enjoy it. Baiyi is like that. But when it comes to the woman next to you, Baiyi smiled slightly and pulled it into his arms. Kushina, you sneaked to see Naruto again, didn't you? That's right. This woman, named Uzumaki Kushina. A sad and poor woman. But now she has changed her name to Uchiha Naraku, and her identity is his maid of Uchiha Baiyi. Meet with it. Naturally, it was the night that Konoha suffered a lot. It was precisely because of the Nine Tails rebellion that Uchiha Fugaku adjusted the guard and put him in the position of captain of the guard. 3 years ago, he was a little curious about Nine Tails, so he naturally witnessed the scene of the 4th generation sealing Nine Tails. He wasn't going to do anything. Although he admires Namikaze Minato, he will not change anything for him. Little son chose to be a competent Hokage and gave up being a competent husband and father, which was his own choice. As he was dying, he seemed to see himself and pointed to Uzumaki Kushina, who was as miserable as her. At that moment, Bai Yi realized. Then he solemnly came to Minato and said, "Your wife, I will raise her." That's it. After the Nine Tails rebellion, 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato's wife, Uzumaki Kushina, disappeared. Instead, within the Uchiha clan, there is a maid named Uchiha Naraku. Lived together for 3 years. Bai Yi is not a good man and a woman, what should happen happened naturally. After all, that's the job of the maid. He saved Kushina, which was the price to pay. Kushina has accepted this. It was when he and Kushina discussed about Naruto. This woman who believed in the 3rd generation old man actually told him that the 3rd generation would treat her children well. And I also believed that 3rd generation concealed Naruto's identity in order to protect Naruto. Even. For 3 years, she just used the hidden props she threw to her to watch her children in secret. After all, the current Naruto is Nine Tails Jinchuriki. Any promises made on the premise of protecting her children will make her believe. Regarding this, Bai Yi didn't even bother to argue with her. After all, it also avoids some hassle. Nah. It's not that I, Uchiha Bai Yi, didn't let the pair recognize each other, but she believed the 3rd generation's words after she inquired about it secretly. Sorry. Kushina blushed and said that as a mother, she couldn't control herself when she thought about her child. Bai Yi naturally knew this. But Kushina also knew that if he acted on his own and was discovered by the higher-ups, it seemed to cause trouble for the man. Apologizing is useless, you should know. After all, he Uchiha Bai Yi is the guard. What does an apology do for the guards? He is not afraid of Kushina's identity being exposed, nor is he afraid of the so-called high-level pressure to tear his face or something. It's just that Kushina's current identity is his maid. It's all about control. As his person, it is natural to greet him and discuss before making a decision. This kind of thing takes a beating. That's what he's been doing for 3 years, otherwise you thought this little pepper would be so obedient. Reach out. Press your head. It was already obvious what Bai Yi wanted to do. I see. Kushina blushed and lowered her head, fully aware of the so-called punishment. Hello Captain. Hello Captain. Quote. Leaf Center area. Even the Uchiha clan have been settled on the outskirts of the village. However, as the office space of the Konoha police force, it is impossible to move the location too. So the police force is still here. Kushina, who knew she was wrong, had a good attitude of admitting her mistake. When Bai Yi appeared refreshed, the surrounding Uchiha clan people looked with enthusiasm and admiration. Ha ha. The Uchiha people who want to tame the unruly, like to pretend, and despise others. Naturally, you have to show your powerful means. So 3 years ago, when he first came to the guards, he beat up the people who made things difficult for him. Dissatisfied. Keep beating. People always have something to fear. The most obvious one is death. Bai Yi didn't mind. When he was in control of the guards, he created some bloodshed. Fortunately, after these people beat him several times, they also lost the idea of going against him. So the current guard team really belongs to him. This is also the meaning of the patriarch Uchiha Fugaku. After all, before Bai Yi, the Uchiha clan chiefs in all dynasties would also serve as the captain of the guard. Didn't you see that before Uchiha's rebellion, those clansmen were called Captain Fugaku? But after the Nine Tails chaos, Fugaku prepared an insurance policy, feeling the village's attitude towards Uchiha changed. Let Bai Yi lead a part of the clan. If something goes wrong, be prepared in advance. Unfortunately, Bai Yi scoffed at those intriguing things, whether it was to assist the rebellion at that time, or the strong man broke his wrist to show his determination, it had nothing to do with him. After all, running the guard for so long. There is no patriarch in the hearts of these clansmen, only he is the captain. For example now, when he was standing here, the second team of guards on duty today assembled in less than a minute, waiting for his order. Bai Yi is very satisfied with this. Nodding his head, he waved his hand, and led the guards to start swaggering through the city. As a qualified captain of the guard, how can you forget your daily duties? Start patrolling. Yes. Chapter 3 Go, give them a hard time. With a relaxed expression, Bai Yi strolls on the streets where Konoha is not very busy. The younger brother next to him is very discerning and has already brought cigarettes to him. The life of the captain of the guard is corrupt. After all, although it is to obtain task rewards. But those two requirements are just to maintain stability. Things in life, our self-disciplined captain is quite relaxed. In the morning, I made an appointment with Guy to exercise. Patrol in the morning and collect some protection fees. Take a nap at noon, and occasionally take my brothers to the custom shop in the afternoon to relax and enjoy the corrupt life. At night, tease Hong Yuhi who has grown up, or go to harass Yuzuki Yuyan of Anbu. His life was full and simple. So what Bai Yi couldn't understand was that. Why are the guards in the original book hated by the villagers? Ah, brother, this is the guard. What was the world before the time travel? Powerful authority. It's fine if you don't respect it, how dare you despise it? Who gave you the courage? Although the decay of this village has reached its roots. But after all, the villagers are still very foolish. So after Bai Yi came to power, he made a few random strategies, and the villagers' impression of the guards has been changed very well. After all, although the guard is the right of the Uchiha family, what he does is also the work of maintaining law and order. This is a job that has a sense of presence, is powerful, and is easily respected when it is done well. In the original book, it is estimated that the people of the Uchiha clan are used to pretending, and when they work in the guards, they also look like Long Aoshin, so they will be disgusted by people. So after Bai Yi's specification, the impression thing has been subtly changed. The current guard team is a weapon to maintain public order in Konoha. Don't say anything else. As long as the merchants who handed him Bai Yi's offerings will be sheltered by the guards, basically no one dares to cause trouble. Even now, those businesses will take the initiative to send a penny over to seek shelter. As for the troublemaker, hey, do you really think there are many good people in Konoha? Or maybe the people in the village are like Naruto, I forgive you one by one. Not to mention, Guy's father, even with him, was bullied by other ninjas when Might Dai was not famous. As for why it was put on the shelves to pay the tax to Konoha, and to send him protection fees. This problem. Do you really think the conflict between Konoha and Uchiha is just talk? Obviously not. Those taxes and fees were confiscated, and the ones that could be granted to the Uchiha guard were pitiful. According to the meaning of the high level, your Uchiha guards are managed by the Uchiha clan, and all expenses should be reimbursed by your Uchiha clan. Listen. Is this human? A security guard that protects the interests of the village does not even pay wages, leaving the family to handle it themselves. Bai Yi wanted to laugh at that moment. He didn't have much ink, and directly opened the protection fee system. The effect is obvious. Not only did he have the capital to maintain a luxurious life, he even raised a lot of wages for his younger brother. Otherwise, why do you think those players are so obedient? When interests bind the group, everything comes naturally. And what he did was legal and reasonable. After all, the Konoha safety regulations were his mother's order. He Uchiha Bai Yi didn't force others to call protection fees, and others couldn't say anything. The situation of the guards in the original book is really incomprehensible. The Uchiha master guards, but they don't use the guards as weapons. I really don't know what the Uchiha clan who was destroyed in the original book held meetings all day long. That's the guard. To see who is not pleasing to the eye, it is not too easy to wear a small shoe. Shaking his head, he didn't bother to think about it. Anyway, The guards are now owned by him, and someone looking for trouble with him is looking for death. It's really corrupt. Throwing away the cigarette butts, the younger brother next to him respectfully handed over the chewing gum. Bai Yi glanced at the vice captain who ordered money not far away, and sighed with emotion. Captain Bai Yi. Deputy Captain Shanyang. But right now. An urgent voice came. Bai Yi raised his eyebrows and looked over calmly. Not far away, the vice captain of Uchiha Sanyo also hurried over. Holding his arms, Bai Yi spit out a word. Someone on 4th Street is looking for trouble at the weapons store. The guards looked solemn and said quickly. Need to tell me such a thing? Bai Yi frowned in dissatisfaction. He has long said that businesses who have paid protection fees are absolutely sheltered by the guards. Anyone who dares to make trouble will have to pay a price. They are the police force. It is a routine operation to directly arrest and throw into prison to make trouble. After all, next to the guard is the prison in Konoha village. Lord Captain, it's a little troublesome this time. The team member quickly explained. Forget it, it happens to be nothing, go and have a look. Bai Yi waved his hand, too lazy to listen to his subordinate's nonsense. He wanted to see who dared to feel uncomfortable under his own eyes. 4th Street is not far. And Bai Yi was quite impressed with this weapon shop. When passing by chance, he saw the girl named Tian Tian in the original book. Now that she is only 4 years old, Bai Yi can recognize her because of the familiar hairstyle and the iconic weapon shop. At this moment, at the door of the weapon shop, the boss was talking to an extremely arrogant man with a sullen face. Bai Yi touched his chin and listened. The younger brother next to him is also very knowledgeable, and he introduced things to the side without nonsense. Simply put, it is an uncomplicated strong buy and strong sell event. If you follow the way the guards work in the past, this kind of person will be caught directly. But now the problem is, the person who argued with the boss seemed to have some background. After all, this world is pure fight father. The kid was used to being arrogant. He didn't bring enough money but took away the equipment. The boss didn't want to lose money and wanted to convince people with reason, but the kid was obviously unreasonable. To say the guards do things. Of course, you don't need to be afraid of the other party's background. Can your background be better than Uchiha? The family pretends to be used to it. But now the relationship between the family and the village is a bit tense. That little brother didn't dare to deal with it without authorization, so he reported it to him. It's not that he didn't dare, but the first thing Bai Yi did when he came to the guards was to teach them obedience. Well done. Bai Yi gave the younger brother named Uchiha Satoshi an admiring look. The little brother was instantly overjoyed. But Bai Yi's words below made his mouth twitch, and he quickly stood at attention. The Konoha management regulations are subordinate to the business management regulations. What does Article 7 say? Bai Yi spoke calmly. Protected merchants were forced to buy and sell, and the prisoners were detained for 10 to 15 days, compensated for all the losses of the merchants, and the guards fined 200,000. Loud. Uchiha Satoshi's movement caught the criminals' attention. The people around also looked over. They want to know how the guards, who have been charging protection fees, will deal with this situation. Yes, not bad. Bai Yi nodded, then waved his hand, without even looking at the kid over there, and continued to speak. Go, give them a hard time and get the guards back. Also, don't tell me this kind of thing next time, and handle it according to the regulations. 2 big push pockets. Uchiha Satoshi was taken aback. By the way, big push pocket equals loud slap. With a fierce face, he looked at the arrogant man fiercely. You dare to hit me. The man was instantly furious and pointed at Uchiha Satoshi and wanted to say something. My father is Mitokado Homura. I think you try to beat me. Snapped. What responded to him was a loud push. Is your father Mitokado Homura? Uchiha Satoshi's face was full of contempt. Not to mention the mere Hokage consultant, even Hokage's son, as long as the boss speaks, he will dare to beat him. Snapped. Another big fight. The criminal was successfully caught. Bai Yi nodded admiringly. As expected of the Uchiha clan who dared to rebel. If nothing else, he is quite satisfied with this character of beating and beating. Hokage consultant's son. Should be very rich, right? Tisk, what a big fish, and the background is so hard. Inform me, give me the priority to take care of this kid, his father wants to double the ransom money. Chapter 4 Self-disciplined captain of the guard, clock in and get off work. As expected of the Konoha guard. Yes, Lord Baiyi is as reliable as ever. Thanks to the protection of Lord Baiyi, we can be safe and sound. Businessmen in the commercial street were talking a lot. Among them, the owner of the weapon shop is most grateful. But these have nothing to do with Baiyi for the time being. At this time, he has already taken the members of the guard team to close the team. Konoha Police Force. Headquarters Interrogation Room. Baiyi crossed Erlang's legs, drank the coffee handed over by his younger brother, and calmly looked at Mito Chingtang who was bound in front of him. Mito Ivy. Konoha Hokage advisor, son of Mitokado Homura. Perhaps in the eyes of others, his identity is indeed very special. But Baiyi wasn't used to him. Not to mention him, if it was Mitokado Homura who caused trouble at the weapon shop, that would be the same treatment. The Third Ninja War. Adhering to the principle that the front is tight and the rear is tight. The two Konoha advisors, Mitokado Homura and Uchiha Kaharu, apparently made a lot of money for themselves during the war. The Konoha hit by the war is riddled with holes, but it has fattened two waists. Maybe the third generation ability is not bad. But second Hokage has arranged for him a lot of pig teammates. He has limited vision and likes to be in the nest. This village deserves to be like this. Tell me, why did you betray the village? Baiyi spoke immediately, and casually said something that made Mito Chingtang's heart skip a beat. When did I betray the village? Why is this guy talking nonsense with his eyes open? Mito Chingdu's eyes widened in shock. Even if his father was Mitokado Homura, if this crime was charged, then he wouldn't be able to protect him. Baiyi shook his head. This person is really unprofessional. He waved to his little brother. He left the interrogation room. And when he just came out, there was a scream after another that made the scalp numb. Konoha guard. He is the boss, the absolute authority. Bend into a trick. Sorry. Whether it is about Konoha management regulations or business management regulations. When he was in power, they were all sent to third generation for review and signature. So he is not afraid of the other party's trouble at all. Even willing to Mitokado Homura run away, came to make trouble with him. As for betraying the village or something. Of course it was his false accusation. The purpose is also very simple. Come in and put on the hat first. The prisoner's bones are hard and he will follow the usual methods, and if the bones are soft, he can go to the Mitokado Homura with the guilt. I am used to big hands and feet, and my subordinates have to support many younger brothers, so stealing money is naturally essential. Konoha has been rotten to the core, and he doesn't mind making this riddled village even more corrupt and darker. Anyway, Mitokado Homura's money is not clean, and he spends it without any pressure. Captain, he recognized it. I am thinking about how to maximize the benefits of this matter and cheat him for millions of flowers. However, the screaming inside suddenly stopped. Uchiha Sanyo came over with a serious face. So fast. He hasn't finished a cigarette yet, so it's over. Baiyi took the confession and glanced at it in surprise. Then he almost laughed. Good boy, this is really a traitor. Yes. Completely out of Baiyi's surprise, this kid didn't hold back a few punches, and he actually spit out a big secret. Confession is easy. But it's shocking. It's almost time for Konoha to negotiate with Cloud Shinobi Village. The friction between the two sides continued on the front line. After the third generation sent many members of the Hyuga clan to support, it brought a lot of trouble to the people of Cloud Shinobi Village. At Cloud Shinobi Village, there was naturally an idea to negotiate. And how to get benefits from chatting, this is a science. The easiest way is to know the opponent's cards, such as how much money Konoha can use in the war, weapons and equipment, etc. By chance, the ninja of Cloud Shinobi Village approached Mitokado Homura's son, Mito Ito, and wanted to know about Konoha's consumption and the attitude of third generation from him. Seeing this, a flash of understanding flashed in Bai Yi's eyes. No wonder in the original book, after the arrival of the Cloud Shinobi Village negotiation team, they dared to act so arrogantly. Feelings before they came, they knew the truth of Konoha from the inside of Konoha, and knew that Konoha could not afford the problem of the consumption of a war. Knowing ourselves and the enemy, Cloud Shinobi Village dared to persecute Konoha so much, and dared to directly kill Hyuga Hazashi. It has to be said that fourth Raikage, although it looks rude, also has two brushes. After all, according to Bai Yi's eyes, it's not that Konoha's side can't experience the wear and tear of the war, and his Cloud Shinobi Village can't too. But fourth Raikage still dared to push Konoha. One thing to say, maybe the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen in the original book was as tough as the people in Cloud Shinobi Village when negotiating. Will Hyuga Hazashi still die? Bai Yi pouted, too lazy to waste his brain cells on this issue. Keep fighting. I don't think he vomited clean. A wave of hands. Bai Yi gave the order. The confession also lacks some details. Yes, Captain. But, what should I do after the interrogation? Vice Captain Uchiha Sanyo scratched his head and asked for Bai Yi's instructions. Because he knows. Their captain is about to get off work, and he doesn't dare to disturb him after he gets off work. Make a copy and send it to Hokage. Bai Yi yawned, waved his hands in disinterest, and turned away. Today, I made an appointment to have dinner with Yuri Hong, and he was too lazy to handle some trivial matters. Check in, get off work. Ding. Congratulations to host for completing the self-discipline captain's patrol mission. Ding. Your pupil strength has improved a little. A burst of energy flowed into the eyes. When the 3 Guyu turns rapidly, the broken Guyu forms a new pattern, the new Mangekyo. But Mangekyo's rotation did not stop, and then the cross eyes became more solid, and a golden light mixed with blood red flashed by. Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Well, not bad. After feeling it a little, Bai Yi expressed his satisfaction. He can be sure that he only needs an Ashura Chakra reward from a special mission, and it is not a problem for him to open Rinnegan. The long-term mission, self-disciplined captain of the guard, the rewards will be settled in batches every day. For him, it is a small surprise every day. Changes in the eyes don't matter. After all, infinite Tsukuyomi couldn't possibly have an effect on him given the level of resistance to his illusions. Moreover, Bai Yi is a true hexagonal warrior. He is fully developed and doesn't care whether he can turn on Rinnegan or not. Nothing else. Ugly refuse. He prefers Tensagen if he can. Well, if there is a chance in the future, I can go to the moon for a walk. One thing to say, Keigaya's real body is what is sealed in the moon, and I don't know what form those 1,000-year-old ladies lived in, tisk tilde. Chapter 5 Combat Strength Measurement Unit debuts. Bustling streets. Let's call it prosperous. After all, for a traveler like Bai Yi, he has seen too many places of BBE fan. However, Hokage's tech tree is fascinating. There is high technology and there is ninjutsu. Have a mobile phone, and then use people to pass information during the F************G ninja war. He didn't understand, and he didn't bother to think about it. Mr. Bai Yi, here. A sweet voice came. Bai Yi showed a gentle smile and came to the door of a meatball shop. After waiting for so long, Hong Yuhi was a little shy, and came to Bai Yi and took his arm. On the other hand, Mitarashi Anko, who was next to her, pouted. She reminded her best friend just now that she should be reserved in front of boys, so she couldn't help it. All are adults. Everyone sees each other pleasing to the eye, and after a short tentative stage, they directly enter the communication stage. If nothing else, the feelings of the ninja world are really pure. A lot of love can even be determined at the childhood stage. For example, Hinata is the representative. And now, Hong Yuhi is his real girlfriend. How can a leisurely life be without a love? The self-disciplined captain who doesn't feel wronged is quite good to his girlfriend. Today I have a guest. Bai Yi didn't dislike the light bulb Mitarashi Anko, instead he made an invitation with a kind smile. He had a good impression of this woman, but he also had some admiration. Nothing else. After Orochimaru's defection, Anko as his disciple was naturally affected. Even experienced Anbu's interrogation, and from that day on, he will be pointed at. But she obviously didn't care. This is not simply a big heart, but to bury those things in the heart with a strong heart. Perhaps underpinning her belief was to find Orochimaru again one day and ask him why he defected without one of his own. Red. At this moment, the sound of breaking the harmonious atmosphere came. Asuma's figure appeared in the sight of the three of them. I've said many times that we're not that close, and calling me that will make my boyfriend misunderstand. Hong Yuhi hugged Bai Yi's arm tightly. As Bai Yi's girlfriend, she cares about her boyfriend's feelings very much. She was also afraid that Bai Yi would misunderstand herself, so she ignored Asuma and dragged Bai Yi and Anko into the meatball shop. Bai Yi smiled and didn't make a statement. For Asuma, the ill will not count. To some extent, it can only be regarded as an immature person. As the son of Hokage, Asuma in his youth was indeed a playboy, and in order to find the jade that his father said, he became a guardian forbearance. After returning, he understood what the so-called jade was, and quickly played the fine tradition of the Sarutobi family, rushing to create a man, for fear that his family would not have jade. But now the red is his. Although he hasn't completely changed his shape, this is because he wants to slowly enjoy the process of falling in love. Wanting to imprint her and turn her into her own shape, tonight seemed like a good time. Hong, I'm leaving the village tomorrow. It seems that Hong Yuhi's indifference made Asuma uncomfortable. He slowly opened his mouth, as if he wanted to say something to Hong Yuhi because he was about to leave. At some point, this naive move does work. But it was useless to Yuhi Hiro. The girl didn't even bother to pay attention to the other party, and silently expressed her thoughts with her actions. He picked up a bunch of balls and brought them to Bai Yi, intending to give sweets to his boyfriend by himself. In terms of meatballs, I like to eat imported ones. Bai Yi said shyly and sincerely. Imported? Yuhi Hong Exiami raised her eyebrows slightly and seemed a little puzzled. Then he suddenly saw his girlfriend winking, and finally understood the meaning of those words. Blushing, the girl bit Sakura's lips lightly, and finally gathered up her courage and moved closer. Amid the strange screams of Anko and Asuma's chilling heartbreak, the two separated. Very sweet. Bai Yi felt it and was satisfied with it. Red. Fed up. The young playboy Asuma was furious and let out a roar. The boy's heart was broken, and he seemed to want to express his dissatisfaction by roaring. It hasn't changed yet. Can't stand it at all. Bai Yi raised his head and looked at each other calmly, and beside him, Hong Yuhi spoke here. Captain Bai Yi, can I report it? Hong Yuhi, who had just fed her boyfriend imported sugar, was quite attractive. She leaned beside Bai Yi and gave her a wink. Sarutobi Asuma has been haunting me lately and it has seriously affected my daily life. I don't know if the guards will deal with hooligans who harass women. What do you say? Bai Yi rolled his eyes, guessing that this girl took the imported balls just now as protection money, right? Clack. He snapped his fingers, then pointed at Sarutobi Asuma. Two members of the Uchiha family, members of the night guard who were on duty tonight, rushed over. Grab it. I suspect he is an associate of Minato Ito. Mito Chingtang betrayed the village and betrayed the interests of the village. As the captain of the Konoha Guard, I will never allow this to happen again. So handsome. As if to say something trivial. It also has the aura of a superior, and with a single finger, it determines a person's fate. Did Jun Bai Yi protect the village like this during the day? When men are serious, they will always inadvertently attract women. This is especially true with Bai Yi's monster-level charm bonus. And with this charm bonus, she naturally ignored her boyfriend's abuse of power and gave Asuma a big hat like betraying the village. It's great to be Bai Yi Jun's girlfriend. Yuhi Hong's wink was like silk, and she was stunned for a while. Yes, Captain. The two guardsmen immediately started. In the guards, Bai Yi's words are the imperial edict. Son of Hokage. Dare to resist like beating. The farce is over. Bai Yi enjoyed Yuhi Hong's adoring gaze and ate the balls leisurely. But obviously this matter here has spread at a strange speed. The balls are not finished yet. A certain unit of measurement comes into play. In other words, he has been observing in the dark for a long time, but it is more appropriate to come out now. He's Hokage's son after all. Kakashi, the unit of measurement, muttered. Got no response. Kakashi shook his head, not caring. Anbu has the duties of Anbu, the guard has the duties of the guard, and he has no right to interfere in the affairs of the guard. This time, I came here to talk about Hokage. The confession you sent me, third generation Sama, has already been read. He said there was a misunderstanding in this matter. Bai Yi smiled slightly. Smart people communicate with smart people. A misunderstanding, even some of the potential stuff is covered. There is a threat. There are compromises. There are also temptations. But, what does this have to do with me? The most annoying thing about the old yin. Isn't it good to go straight? With a sincere face, Bai Yi looked at Kakashi and spoke slowly. I have to pay more. Chapter 6 Guard's Work. Arrest is serious. Fire Country. Konoha. It is night. The villagers who worked hard all day enjoyed their dinner. But Hokage's office is still brightly lit. Since the third generation came back to power, he has no obstacles, and he has been stubborn in grasping this aspect of power. He still remembered how powerless he was when he was forced to abdicate. The more I lost it, the more I realized how important it was to sit here. Even if the fourth generation was in the top position at that time, although he was sitting under the curtain, the feeling was different. There is a price to pay for taking power. Konoha has everything up and down, and he wants to participate. That's why he got off work later and later. But that's okay. He was very happy about it. Did he really say that? Sitting in a chair, Sarutobi Hiruzen lit his cigarette pouch and watched Kakashi report the situation with a blank expression. Kakashi nodded indifferently. He's here to revive. You have to pay more. 3 nonsense words. Kakashi didn't ponder deeply, but he knew it wasn't easy. It is estimated that the two of them are playing some word games. After all, he didn't participate in this matter, and naturally he didn't understand the confrontation inside. To put it bluntly, it is simple. Third generation told Bai Yi that this was a misunderstanding, and of course it wanted to save Mito Chingtang. Not for any other reason. But this matter is related to the face of Konoha's senior management. You must know that Mitokado Homura, as a Hokage advisor, his son secretly betrayed Konoha's information. If this kind of thing spreads out, it can be imagined what kind of sensation it will cause. He warned Bai Yi on the grounds of misunderstanding, and the meaning was obvious. I don't want to make this matter a big one, I want to handle it privately, and turn the big things into small things and finish them off. But obviously Bai Yi didn't buy it. Want to solve a problem. Can. Take money to work. Konoha is corrupt, and it has nothing to do with him. But he wants benefits. And blatantly want to. Sarutobi Hiruzen sensed the provocation in the 3 words, to add money. With some inexplicable meaning in his eyes, third generation's expression became colder. This is the first time since he took over as Hokage again. Uchiha Bai Yi, can his actions represent the Uchiha family? Could he take this as a test for the Uchiha clan? It has to be said that in the world of old men, any of your actions may contain some kind of conspiracy in his eyes. No way. There are too many conspiracy theories, and everyone is full of calculations. If Bai Yi knew that third generation thought so, I'd be dead laughing. Uchiha. Not even Uchiha Fugaku can command him. He asked for money, and that was just money, without other ideas. Don't give. Then tomorrow he will post Mito Ito's confession, smack the face of the top Konoha to death, and then kill Mitokado Homura's son for the crime of collaborating with the enemy. He can totally do this kind of thing. He didn't say anything else. Or did he do something else? After a long while, Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned and spoke again. He wondered if this matter was inspired by the Uchiha clan, or by Yi's own idea. Nothing else to say. As for the action, I don't know if it counts as putting your son in jail. Kakashi said calmly. Your son Sarutobi Asuma was taken back to the Konoha Guard for harassing women on the street. It is estimated that he is currently being interrogated to determine whether he is an accomplice with Mito Ito. After all, Lord Hokage, you know that Mito Chingtang has a good relationship with your son. My son molested women. Sarutobi Hiruzen slapped the desk with an angry face. Confirmed. That kid is counter-threatening himself. He would guess maliciously about anything, and even link the two things together. According to his understanding, it is estimated that Uchiha Baiyi arrested Asuma to tell himself that if he wants to achieve a misunderstanding ending, he had better pay honestly. The Uchiha family, provoking themselves this Hokage again and again. Sarutobi stinks with an old face, but in the end there is no angry growl. He has been forbearing for many years, and he is known as Shinobu. If it wasn't for the sudden incident today, his emotions would never have been affected to this point. Kakashi is still very calm. It doesn't seem to have any effect. But looking at third generation's emotions, he could probably guess what the old Hokage was thinking. After a little hesitation, he spoke slowly. Subordinates feel that this is not retaliation and has nothing to do with threats. Because your son molested, it was his girlfriend. Is this your understanding? Kakashi. Sarutobi's eyes flickered, but he didn't say anything. Really too tender. This kid can't even think of the conspiracy behind this. That's right, after all, for a person like Hitaki Tsukumo who can be forced to commit suicide, how could the inherited genes think of this? Force his father to death, and then let him do things under his own hands. Third generation is happy with Kakashi so far. Tenderness is also a good thing. Represents no ambition. He can't think of this layer, which proves that he is not as good as himself. Third generation Sama suddenly became confident, and Kakashi's gaze became kinder. This is the old Yin, the creator of the conspiracy theory. Check it out. Two very ordinary things Baiyi did, but in his mind they converged into a huge conspiracy war scene. What did Baiyi do? No. Just caught a criminal who caused a conflict, and then caught a person who coveted his girlfriend and harassed his girlfriend. Isn't that what the captain of the guard should do? He is a mature guard captain, and he has already learned to arrest people by himself, so why wait for Hokage's orders? As now. Go, catch me Mitokado Homura. Konoha Village, the absolute core area. Mitokado Homura's doorstep. Baiyi, who asked Hong Yuhi to go to his house to take a bath first, immediately assembled the guards and made a surprise attack. Who are you? From the guard. You dare to take action on Advisor Hokage. Can the Uchiha clan try to rebel? A loud noise came. But as Uchiha Sanyo slapped the guard's face with a slap, the arrest officially began. Uchiha Satoshi, this kid is smart. Taking this opportunity, he proudly looked around at the ninjas and villagers who were disturbed. Guards do business. Idle people wait to retreat. Those who Anbu dare not catch, the guards catch. I'll take care of the inconvenient things Hokage-sama can take care of. First kill and then play, Captain's Charter. In a word, consultants break the law and commit the same crime as the villagers. After a few words, the shocked people's scalp was numb, and the scene was silent. This represents the determination of the guard. Arrest people, they are serious. Chapter 7 Lord Hokage, are you here to pay the fine for your son? Grab Mitokado Homura, the Hokage advisor. It's not a big deal for Baiyi. As the captain of the guard, I think you are suspected of betraying the village, so it makes sense to arrest you for questioning, right? Just a Hokage consultant. If you want to catch it, catch it. This is the authority of the Konoha police force. Still with that sentence, Baiyi couldn't figure out why the guards in the original book were so aggrieved. With such a powerful weapon of power, Master has completely different effects in the hands of different people. The Konoha management regulations were signed by Hokage. Combined with the confession provided by Mitokado Homura's son, the arrest is completely reasonable and legal. As for why arrest? This is very simple. The arrival of the unit of measure of combat power, Hitaki Kakashi, represents the attitude of Hokage. Want to take this as a misunderstanding? Did you ask me? Baiyi laughed and turned to leave. As the captain of the Konoha police force, he has full authority to handle this matter by himself. Even the confession doesn't have to be sent to Hokage, and it's not a big deal to expose the whole thing directly. In this matter, he thought that Mitokado Homura would discuss with him personally, so that it would be good for everyone. But Hokage's act of oppressing others made him very angry. The attitude of third generation is obvious. Mito Ito, the son of Mitokado Homura, he saved. And Bai Yi's directly arrested him lousy, and the response was also very strong. If you want to protect, you have to get my consent. It's that simple. The latter matter does not need him to handle it himself. It's just catching someone, no big deal. He believed that, by means of the guards, after tonight's surprise interrogation, the respected advisor Konoha Hokage would spit out something that interested him. Into the night. Uchiha tribe. Inside a mansion more luxurious than the patriarch's residence. Kurenai Yuhi looked at the woman in front of her curiously. She calls herself Uchiha Bai Yi's maid. Women are beautiful. Waist-length hair and a delicate face. Uzumaki Kushina, who changed his appearance, didn't care that Yuhika would recognize his identity. After all, the disguise made by that gentle scum for her is different from the ordinary transformation technique. Even if she goes out shopping, she will not be recognized. The reason he was punished by Bai Yi before was entirely because that man with a strong desire to control didn't like to act on his own. But, indeed a beast. Are you taking a woman home? The little chili is pungent by nature, pouting his mouth and feeling a little uncomfortable. But Kushina also understood that as long as she didn't want to cause trouble to Bai Yi, her identity could not be exposed. And she also knew that she was not qualified to complain about anything. It was her luck to be rescued by Bai Yi and become his maid. Mr. Bai Yi. A figure entered the room. The young girl with no personnel blushed and shyly approached Bai Yi. I parted at the ball store before, but her boyfriend even asked her to come here and wait for him to come back. A little excited, a little scared, and more expecting. You asked me to come here, what's the matter? The red who couldn't wipe his face asked in a low voice. The poor girl had no idea what she was about to experience. As the person who came over, Uzumaki Kushina looked up and down at Hong Yuhi with pity. Ha ha. As the person who came here, she really wanted to tell Hong Yuhi not to come. God knows what this man is. Even the powerful physique of her Uzumaki clan is not an opponent at all, and she rolled her eyes as she was tossed. A mere girl is nothing more than a match for this B*********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** Bai Yi said shyly. Today, the Hokage consultant father and son were arrested, plus Hokage's son. But that didn't stop him from enjoying life at all. He naturally knew that his actions would make a certain old yin sleepless, but Bai Yi felt that he would definitely enjoy it tonight. Looking at her handsome boyfriend, Hong Yuhi suddenly gathered up her courage, then rolled her eyes, remembering the words of her former best friend Anko. Sakura's lips parted slightly, and she opened her mouth shyly. Mr. Bai Yi, you can't be astringent. A strange switch was flipped. Bai Yi, a man with a straight stem incarnated as a beast, rushed towards the room with the exclaimed Hong Yuhi. Come on. Have a good fight. The next day, when Agai and Bai Yi reappeared on Hokage Yanyan, Bai Yi was refreshed, listened to the system notification sound in his ear, glanced at today's rewards, and smiled. He seems to be in a good mood. Agai also showed his big die and extended his thumb. Then, habitually, he rushed forward with his fists. Brief fight. Unsurprisingly, the man who implemented self-restraint flew out backwards. Too strong. Guy scratched his head, grabbed Bai Yi's outstretched hand, caught his strength and stood up again. With his current strength, if he wants to fight happily, I am afraid that Guy will only have hope if he opens the 8th gate. However, the so-called gap in strength did not affect Bai Yi's recognition of Guy's friend. The man who almost kicked out the finale. I suggested to Hokage that it should come down. Bai Yi seemed to have thought of something and said gently. Is that what Bai Yi said, the one that provides extra places for the guards? Guy's eyes lit up and he quickly confirmed it. Appreciating a person, Being a friend is not enough. In Ah Gai's opinion, if he can do business with Bai Yi, this is a kind of recognition for him. And he also wanted to follow Bai Yi's side to see how this man exercised and why his strength was so terrifying. Bai Yi knew what he was thinking. But it is estimated that if Ah Gai sees such a corrupt life every day, he must be very disappointed. Well, but that's okay. The reason why the King Gai is because you can exercise anytime, anywhere, do a one-handed handstand and the like. These are not big problems. He opened his mouth because he was sure that if third generation didn't want to make things worse, everything would be fine today. Even with the proposal he submitted before, about expanding the number of guards, it will definitely pass. Originally, third generation would definitely not agree to this matter. The guard is equivalent to Uchiha's authority. Expanding the number of guards is giving Uchiha more power in disguise. How could third generation agree? What's more, in the proposal, Bai Yi also said that he wanted to expand his organization. In addition to the members of the Uchiha clan, he also wanted to recruit ninjas from other ethnic groups in the village. There is no doubt that this proposal was directly suppressed. But now, it is uncertain whether it can be suppressed or not. He was even more convinced of this when he took a shower and came to work at the security guard, and saw third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen with a livid face and being stopped at the entrance waiting. Yo, Lord Third Generation, long time no see. Step by step to the third generation. Bai Yi is condescending with an absolute height advantage, and his cynical attitude has no respect at all. Under the shocked gazes of everyone around, Bai Yi stretched out his right hand and placed it on Sarutobi Hiruzen's head. As if a senior was encouraging the junior, this man did not play cards according to the routine at all. Lord Hokage, are you here to pay the fine for your son? Chapter 8. This is all for the village. Uchiha Bai Yi. Since returning to the role, Sarutobi has always felt elevated. It can even be truly unremarkable. But this is the case, and at this moment, a murderous look flashed in his eyes. Being Hokage, he undoubtedly sees himself as the pinnacle of power in the village. But now there is a big hand on the apex of power. Looking up, he couldn't keep up with the altitude and took a deep breath while holding back his anger. But before his action was over, a loud, shocking fart swept from the side. Uchiha Satoshi, this kid is smart from a young age. His expression remained unchanged, and he lifted his trousers up. Bai Yi rolled his eyes, but instead of pressing Sarutobi's head, he chose to leave the scene quickly. Then he cast wind style without leaving a trace, forming an aura around Uchiha Kong, like a spring breeze blowing his face. That strange breath rushed towards Sarutobi Hiruzen. What is this for? Sarutobi flushed and glared at Satoshi Uchiha, barely breathing. Well known. The world of ninjas belongs to the power system of high attack and low defense. As strong as the shadow of a village, unless it is deliberately trained like Raikage, it will also be killed by a kunai. Especially for someone as old as Sarutobi, and the fact that he keeps his smoking gun in his hands every day, his lung capacity is really bad. And today, he smelled a deadly threat from Uchiha Satoshi's fart. One thing to say, if the dignified Hokage fainted by a fart, it would be a bit unreasonable. No, Lord Hokage. It's just a fart. The Konoha management regulations do not stipulate that fart is not allowed. Uchiha Satoshi shrugged his shoulders. He was very confident in his farts. Just by looking at Lord Third Generation's livid face and his old Yamato's cheerful appearance, he knew he was wrong. Uchiha Satoshi, who lives up to his name. Just before he started to excrete, he got a faint hint from the boss. The boss means that you can slap Hokage in the face properly, but not too much. Now Hokage and boss need a step up. Attracting firepower by yourself is what a qualified subordinate should do. After all, you can't let the boss keep pressing Hokage and keep him from going in. What if Hokage couldn't help it and clashed with the boss on the spot? For the safety of the boss, let me come. Uchiha Satoshi stared at Sarutobi proudly, and the meaning was obvious. This fart, he let it go. And it's reasonable. There is no rule against farting in public. It's just a shame at most. But is face more important than one's own future? Obviously not important. This third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen has always led by example. For example, teach Konoha to bet on drugs, such as killing Hitaki Tsukumo Union. Compared with Hokage's shameless degree, he is simply a child. A long time. The smell dissipates. Sarutobi was relieved, looked away from Uchiha Satoshi and looked at Uchiha Baiyi. Just a little bit. He was furious on the spot and wanted to do it. He was insulted by the captain of the guard and the members of the guard successively. As Hokage, even if he was an old man behind the scenes, he couldn't help but swear and tear his face. But he still held back abruptly. Shinobu. Endure what the world can't bear. But there is a reason for all the patience. Last night, when he learned that his son was arrested, he originally wanted to rush over directly. But it was followed by news that Hokage consultants were also arrested. This made him want to turn his face on the spot. Even if he didn't break up with Uchiha now, he still wanted to teach Baiyi a lesson and tell him that Hokage's dignity cannot be provoked. Just when he wanted to do that, a piece of information suddenly came. The Cloud Shinobi Village negotiation team has left and will arrive in Konoha soon, and negotiations for the war are about to begin. Naturally, this news cannot be concealed. At that time, everyone in Konoha will know about this negotiation. Such a stressful time. The villagers are all waiting for their Lord Hokage to fight for the benefit of the village. After all, Konoha is the victor in name. Cloud Shinobi Village is also a party that actively chooses to negotiate. If done right, he could make a big difference in his political career. He naturally didn't want to let go of such an opportunity. So he endured it for a whole night, and after thinking about it for a whole night, he decided to come to the guards in person. The purpose is also very simple. Just add money. It's better than Uchiha Baiyi's death at this juncture, and the fact that there is a traitor at the top of Konoha is made public. God knows what kind of impact it will have if the messenger group arrives and the son of Konoha Hokage advisor privately sends the news to the hostile shinobi village. The consequences were obviously not something he could bear. Temporary compromise. The purpose is to let the other party relax their vigilance. If you want people to perish, let them be rampant first. When he stabilizes Konoha and gathers his power, he will look for an opportunity to kill with one blow. He has already chosen the candidates to deal with Uchiha. Good job. There is no avoidance. Baiyi nodded to Uchiha Kong across the air. Who said the Uchiha family has no IQ online? Look how smart Uchiha Kong is. Baiyi believes that, with polishing, this kid is definitely a talent. It's all well taught by the boss. Uchiha Satoshi said modestly. Curse. Lousy taught you this. Baiyi's expression changed, and he instantly retracted his comment on Uchiha Satoshi. The third generation looked at Baiyi calmly, ignoring the communication between the superior and the subordinate. The old man already knows what happened recently. Captain Baiyi has worked hard. Although he is angry in his heart, he is very good at the means of pretending to be peaceful and sound. It's all for the village, it's not hard work. As the captain of the Konoha Guard, it is my duty to maintain the stability of the village. Baiyi's face was full of modesty. For the village. Sarutobi Hiruzen's mouth twitched. Isn't that what he always talks about? Didn't you stop me by saying that? And if you G want to make money for the village, can you say the words, extra money? Can't you have a face? Yes, for the sake of the village, Captain Baiyi's efforts are obvious to all. Sarutobi endured his nausea and encouraged himself with a sincere expression on his face. As a Hokage, I can't bear to see my subordinates working so hard, so I have already approved the proposal of Captain Baiyi last time. This is a reasonable thing to do. Baiyi didn't have any surprises. But just a proposal. This is clearly not enough. Chapter 9 Terrifying Sarutobi Hiruzen. Fire Country. Konoha. Guard Headquarters. When Sarutobi left with his son, Mitokado Homura and Mito Ito, Baiyi smiled back. The subordinates next to him are counting the harvest this time. The money is innumerable, and there is a passing proposal for the augmentation of the guard. Third generation's expression is obviously not very good. With a dark face, he was extremely angry in his heart. In order to take away these three people, he paid a heavy price. As soon as he entered the door, Uchiha Baiyi spoke loudly. Originally, it was impossible for him to promise to pay so much ransom to let his old partner come out. After all, in his eyes, Mitokado Homura is clearly not worth the price. However, when Baiyi asked his subordinates to send Mitokado Homura's confession, he was silent for a long time and finally chose to compromise. Glancing indifferently at Mitokado Homura with a bruised nose and a swollen face, Sarutobi was furious. What a Hokage consultant! Those things done during the war, if you don't hold on to one round, you will do all the tricks. If his confession was made public, the impact would be far more terrifying than what his son did. This time, he could only admit it. But that doesn't mean Sarutobi Hiruzen will choose to compromise. The guards are arrogant, aren't they? Sarutobi narrowed his eyes, stopped when he was about to walk out of the guard headquarters, and looked at Baiyi leisurely. The guard has done a good job lately. The village is also very stable under the protection of Captain Baiyi. Everyone can see what Captain Baiyi has done. Maybe before, he didn't pay much attention to the guards. But now, he found that the authority of the guard was more exaggerated than he imagined. This position cannot be reserved for Uchiha. Sarutobi's eyes flashed brightly, and he thought for a moment. Even Hokage could not arbitrarily remove the captain of the guards controlled by the Uchiha clan. Especially during this period, there were more and more conflicts between the Uchiha family and the village. Moreover, the guards' arrests are reasonable and legal, and what they do is completely fine, and they are even very popular with the people. Sarutobi was also surprised by this. He had no idea that the notorious guard would become a respected existence. Things were a little unexpected, which was completely different from the theory that Nadaime had given him, and there was a great deviation. The presence of the guard was set up to further weaken Uchiha's influence and divide the villagers from Uchiha. But now it's backfired. He had to pay attention. It now appears that the guard is fine. The problem is the person Uchiha Baiyi. Sarutobi Hiruzen has never been a person with arrears in IQ. He has been able to play tricks for so many years, and he is by no means a waste. Cancel the presence of the guard, for the time being he can't. But changing a guard captain is not impossible. As long as you are human, you will make mistakes. If you make a mistake, you will be left behind. The Cloud Shinobi village messenger will visit Konoha in the near future. A dim light flashed in his eyes, and Sarutobi spoke again after thinking. At that time, the security of the village will be handed over to you. The old man believes that with the talent of Captain Baiyi, he will properly handle anything that happens. Leaving a confusing sentence, third generation turned and left. Baiyi smiled brilliantly, and suddenly stretched out his hand and pressed it on third generation's shoulder, causing his forward body to stagger and almost fell. Don't worry, Lord Hokage, this captain must fulfill his duties as a guard. Sarutobi Hiruzen's expression froze, and fear flashed in his eyes. His gaze was fixed on the hand on his shoulder. Can't break free. Is Sarutobi Hiruzen weak? Not weak. Although he is written in the textbook, describing himself as the strongest Hokage is really pretending and unrealistic. After all, the strength of first generation and second generation is there. How does Sarutobi Hiruzen compete for the position of the strongest Hokage? But that doesn't mean he's weak. It can be said that the shadow of a village will not have too weak existence. Of course, Bo Renzwan is excluded. Just to Sarutobi's shock. Just now, when Baiyi shot, he didn't even have time to react. He could be sure that if Baiyi wanted to kill himself just now, he would be a corpse now. When did the Uchiha family have such a heart-pounding existence? Sarutobi stabilized his body and tried to break free, but he found it was in vain. In the opponent's hands, he is like a pinned monkey powerless to resist. The safety of the village does not need Lord Hokage to worry about it. The guard will naturally be in charge. But none of that matters to me. Baiyi's gentle smile had disappeared at this moment. He slowly approached Sarutobi Hiruzen's ear, and spoke smoothly in a voice only the two of them could hear. "Please, Lord Hokage, take care of your son. If I find him molesting my woman again, I promise he won't get out of the guards in a healthy way." A naked threat. This is a warning from Uchiha Baiyi himself. Nothing to do with the guards, nothing to do with the Uchiha clan. He couldn't see the flies beside his woman. It can be said that a man's possessiveness is at work, and he only hopes that his woman only sees himself in his eyes. The reason why he stayed in the guard team and became a self-disciplined captain was just for more rewards. If he really flips the table, he can change the village's surname in an instant. Do not forget. This Konoha shinobi village was jointly established by the Senju clan and the Uchiha clan, and the Sarutobi clan were nothing more than trash fish that defected to after the establishment. Release Sarutobi's shoulders. Baiyi waved his hand and walked to his office. And Sarutobi took a deep look at Baiyi's back and moved his shoulders. He dared to guarantee that the area that had just endured that power was definitely blue and purple. Uchiha Baiyi. What kind of existence is he? Chapter 10. He seemed to see the destruction of the world. Uchiha tribe. Inside Baiyi's house. Hong Yuhi woke up slowly. Immediately, she seemed to feel something and turned over with difficulty. Then she met a pair of eyes. With a red face, she covered herself with a quilt, and it took a long time to recover and summon the courage to reveal her head. "Sister Naruo, Lord Baiyi, did he eat that kind of food yesterday?" No wonder Yuhihika thought so. It is someone who is too unhuman. It may be that she accidentally flipped the switch of some gentle scum. As a result, the opponent did not keep his hand at all, and during the battle, it was even more awkward, which led to the truth. "He's always been like that, just get used to it." Kushina looked like you've never seen the world, and rolled her eyes and didn't bother to explain. However, because the difference in combat power was too great, she was also pulled into the battlefield, but Hong Yuhi didn't say anything. Woke up. At this moment, Baiyi's figure appeared at the door of the room. After spending a lot of money on Sarutobi, plus warning the old man, Baiyi was obviously in a good mood when he patrolled in the morning. Thinking of last night, Baiyi went home and made lunch by himself. To a certain extent, although he understands that he is a scumbag, he is still very kind to his woman. Just scourged people, and did not choose to ignore it. Normal operation. It is also to open up the harem. I didn't expect that Mr. Baiyi could cook. At the dining table, Hong Yuhi tasted Baiyi's special oriental cuisine and said in surprise. "Treasure it, this guy doesn't cook easily." Although she is a maid, it is obviously natural to have a meal together with Baiyi's permission. Kushina opened his mouth with emotion while eating. "Sister Naruo is also good at cooking, right?" Hong Yuhi blinked and asked curiously. For Uchiha Naraku, that is, Uzumaki Kushina's maid status, she has calmly adapted. After all, she understands that if she can only rely on herself in the future, she will never be able to defeat Baiyi, and the relationship between the two women has also improved a lot in the process of coping with the enemy together. "Of course, the dishes I make are quite delicious. I'll make them for you to try another day." Kushina spoke proudly. "Are you trying to kill someone?" Baiyi's mouth twitched. If it weren't for the fact that Kushina's dark dishes were so unpalatable, he wouldn't have hired a private chef. When he just brought Kushina back, he was fortunate enough to taste it once, and his physique also felt a dull pain in his stomach. He strongly suspects that Minato eats these things so quickly, and he doesn't know how little Sun has endured all these years. He just wants to say something awesome. A rather cozy lunch. Konoha. Central residential area. The door of a house. Yuhi really blushed and looked at her daughter in front of her, and Uchiha Baiyi who was supporting her. Just from the blushing expression on his daughter's face, he knew what was going on. After all, things like staying home all night rarely happen to my daughter, and it all happens at the house of her best friend, Mitarashi Anko. But the current situation is obviously not difficult to understand. "Dad, I have a sprained foot." Red Yuhi said with a shy face, and said very honestly. "Do you believe this?" Yuhi Junhong was silent for a while, and smiled bitterly, not knowing what was in her heart. You go first, I'll talk to Bai Yi about something. Women's colleges do not stay. Yuri sighed deeply. Living room. When Yuhika returned to the room unsteadily, only Bai Yi and Yuhimeko were left. I brewed it myself, uncle, try it. Bai Yi was calm and didn't feel ashamed of other people's cabbage. Instead, he took out 2 wine gourds, put one in front of Yuhi Junhong, and opened the other and took a sip. He is a self-disciplined captain of the guard. It is very reasonable to skip work during work hours and come to my father-in-law's house for a drink or something. The wine is fragrant. Bai Yi's eyes are clear, but he doesn't have the blankness of Ju Mengzi. Coming here with Yuhimeko has already represented his attitude. Since you have eaten cleanly, you have to make a statement. Bai Yi. Picking up the wine gourd bitterly, Yuhi Jinhong spoke softly. Actually, aside from other things, I don't have a bad impression of you. But as a father, I don't really want you to associate with Hong. Do you know why? Yuhi Mahong sighed, and then said with a bitter taste in his throat. He was telling the truth. Bai Yi knew this too. It all happened during the Nine Tails Rebellion. In the original book, Yuhimeko ordered Kakashi and Red to stay away from the battlefield and joined the battle against Nine Tails, but unfortunately died. And now, because Bai Yi wanted to bully Nine Tails, he rescued Yuhimeko from Nine Tails' claws while passing by. In other words, it's a life-saver. So even if he knew that his daughter was dating Bai Yi, he didn't say anything. But as one of Konoha's top executives, acting as Minister Anbu, he understands exactly what stage the village and Uchiha are in now. Bai Yi has a sensitive identity and is the captain of the Konoha Guard. If there is no conflict with the village, this man will not say anything if he is dating his daughter. But as a father, in this situation, he really doesn't want his daughter to be involved in the power struggle Uzumaki. Uchiha a family, delusional against a village. Even if that family is strong, the result is already doomed. Is it really a good result for his own daughter to follow him? But now that raw rice is cooked, he can't stop it. So he wanted to have a heart-to-heart chat with Bai Yi. Actually, to some extent. Bai Yi just did those things yesterday, and then appeared at his acting minister Anbu's house today. I'm afraid anyone with a heart will think about it, and the relationship between the two has even been bound. But what can he do? If Uchiha rebels, he can't help anything, and no matter what the outcome of that fight is, it's extremely bad for Konoha. Taking a step back, even if he wanted to help, he couldn't. Although he manages Anbu, he has no substantive rights at all. The power has long been in the hands of third generation himself, and anyone with a discerning eye knows that he is just a fake job. Uncle should know that I don't like to beat around the bush. Bai Yi took another sip of the wine, then stood up and smiled slightly. I'll say something straight. It's nothing to do with Uchiha at the top. They can fight whatever they like. But no one can tell me what to do. As long as they don't violate the guard's regulations, they can do whatever they want. But if someone violates the rules, I won't be polite. With a backhand shake, the wine gourd disappeared, and Bai Yi's words changed. As for whether I can guarantee Hong's safety, please wait and see. When the invisible momentum rose into the sky, the terrifying pressure swept the quartet. It seems like a moment, or it may be as long as a century. When the breath disappeared, everything was calm. The color of Yuhi's horror is beyond words. No one knew what he saw, not even he himself could describe it. Hard to say. He seemed to see the miserable scene before the destruction of the world. Such a terrifying aura. Uchiha Bai Yi. He hides so deeply. What is his purpose? With such strength, even if he wants to change the sky, he is just doing it casually, right? Chapter 11 Gender will be announced. Purpose. What is the purpose of this captain? Check into work every day, receive a reward, and feel that you are slowly getting stronger. The self-disciplined captain is just enjoying life. What does the high-level intrigue have to do with him? There is only one dead end to disturb his peaceful life. However, in the afternoon, Bai Yi habitually came to the guard headquarters for a stroll. He found an interesting thing. You came. Bai Yi looked indifferent, sat calmly on the chair, and looked at the man who was half kneeling below. I am coming. Uchiha Itachi, who was supposed to be in Anbu, who was following Kakashi, spoke solemnly. You shouldn't have come. Bai Yi's eyes were playful, and he looked up and down the man. Uchiha Itachi remained silent. Really? In a way, he shouldn't have come. But it was Lord Hokage's order, and he couldn't help it. He graduated from the ninja school at the age of 8, and was naturally targeted by Sarutobi Hiruzen. After experiencing the experience after graduation, and the cruelty of the team's mission, he also started Sharingan logically. Originally following Kakashi's mission in Anbu, he was suddenly ordered to join the Konoha Guard. Its meaning is self-evident. Bai Yi touched his chin and didn't speak anymore, just looked at the man who murdered his father and killed his mother with curiosity. No doubt. The kid approached the guards as a spy. Konoha, Uchiha, guard. In addition to his own side, this kid is afraid that he has not transformed from the original double-faced spy into a triple-faced spy, right? The meaning of third generation is obvious. He didn't want the guards to do something while he was being kept in the dark. Like what happened yesterday. Sarutobi was completely led by Bai Yi's nose. If an eye is placed in the guard, this can obviously be effectively avoided. But the placement of others obviously raises suspicion. So, Uchiha Itachi became a good choice. As the son of the patriarch, sending him here obviously would not arouse suspicion. But no one knew that under the guidance of the third generation, this Uchiha clan had already become different. Bai Yi was too lazy to talk nonsense with him. Today's guards are like iron plates, let alone just dispatching a Itachi, even the order of the patriarch will not accept it. Do you really think anyone can infiltrate? Do not make jokes. You will belong to the third guard team in the future. 3 guards. There are 5 divisions of the guard force. There are 5 sub-captains in the 5 sub-teams. The sub-captain is Bai Yi's direct subordinate, and no one can mobilize except him. And this third guard team, the captain is newly promoted. When Uchiha Satoshi's figure appeared in the room, Uchiha Itachi looked up. Seeing this, he shivered for no reason, as if he had a bad premonition. He will belong to you in a while, cultivate well, I am optimistic about you. Bai Yi's face was full of encouragement. Uchiha Satoshi's face was full of excitement, and he quickly nodded to his boss. Yes. He was promoted. This means that what he did in front of the boss this morning was completely fine. At the moment of promotion, he had already made up his mind. If there is fart in the future, he will let it go. Captain Bai Yi, there is a situation at the entrance of the village. At this moment, a figure walked into the room, and then spoke respectfully. Is there another trouble? Bai Yi raised his eyebrows. The whole team, let's go. Konoha village entrance. At this moment, a golden-haired beauty led a team of people who looked rather arrogant, and was talking to Konoha Gate God. From her disdainful attitude, she obviously did not take the ninjas in Konoha village seriously. Her name is Samui. Tall and plump, with beautiful curves, delicate facial features, fair skin and proud headlights. A very beautiful and sexy mature female ninja. He has blue-green eyes and short, straight, shoulder-length pale blonde hair. Her headlights are so big that it makes her shoulders sore occasionally, which is her trouble. At this time, she had a calm, indifferent expression. As a negotiator for Cloud Shinobi Village, Raikage is clearly at ease with her abilities. Especially after knowing the truth of Konoha, she, who received Raikage's order, has already set a course of action for this trip. Get the White Eye's secret. The attitude is as arrogant as possible, making Konoha unable to grasp the reality of their Cloud Shinobi Village. So now, she directly chose to be condescending, and took the identity of Cloud Shinobi Village on the bright side with a disdainful attitude. Is this how your Konoha treats guests? I came all the way on behalf of Cloud Shinobi Village, but there was no one to greet me. Is this the attitude of your Konoha to negotiate with our Cloud Shinobi Village? Samui spoke proudly. No topic, just find fault. Meet. Before the two sides were fighting back and forth on the battlefield, now let them greet each other with a smile. What a joke. The new Kono Yemen god Azumotai has a tangled face. The messengers from Cloud Shinobi village came too fast, they were not prepared at all. I have sent someone to inform Lord Hokage about how to arrange the envoys of your village, and there will be an explanation in a while. The door god explained in a muffled voice. Merely Konoha, how dare you be so negligent? Samui still did not intend to restrain his attitude. She was here to find fault. According to Lord Leian, the tougher the attitude of the messenger group, the weaker Konoha third Hokage will be. But just when she wanted to continue making things difficult. In the distance, a group of teams came quickly. Team members move in uniform in clothing, not limited to the green vests of the Konoha shinobi. After Bai Yi took office, he prepared several uniforms for the guards. Use one set for internal use and another set externally. For example now. The cloaks behind the members of the guards fluttered in the wind, and the big word, justice, was written on it, which looked very impactful. Pause. Bai Yi stood at the front with his arms crossed, and after looking up and down at Sam Yi, he probably understood what was going on. But he didn't speak first. On the other hand, Uchiha next to him understood it. Yes. On such a special occasion, the boss took the initiative to ask something, which seemed to lose weight. It's time for my little brother to come forward. Uchiha Satoshi dragged Uchiha Itachi directly in front of him, and then said something to him in the blank and dull eyes of the other party. Sub-Captain, do you really want to say that? Itachi asked through gritted teeth. Lousy is giving you a chance to show, don't use it. If you were not introduced by the captain, I would definitely not give you this opportunity. Uchiha Satoshi said displeased. Itachi took a deep breath, knowing that he couldn't escape. Disobedience to an order raises suspicion. His mission was to break into the guards, which obviously contradicted his purpose. No way. Only on. Taking a step forward, Itachi clenched his fist and pointed at Samui's huge headlight, then shouted. Come and announce the gender. Chapter 12 I'm here, it means rules. Accompanied by Uchiha Itachi burst into drink. The originally noisy scene suddenly became quiet. The surrounding villagers, as well as the nearby ninjas, looked at Uchiha Itachi with mixed emotions. Pity. A genius boy known as the Uchiha clan. He is the eldest son of the head of the Uchiha clan. He was blind at such a young age. Can't you see those big headlights? In just an instant, countless attentions were focused on Uchiha Itachi. Rao was Uchiha Itachi, who was able to think from Hokage's perspective when he was a child, but he blushed at the moment, and quickly took 2 steps back. In order to infiltrate the Konoha guard, he didn't want his face. Uchiha Satoshi nodded in satisfaction. As expected of his own admiral, he became the focus of the audience as soon as he played. This courage alone is enough to show that the boss has extraordinary vision. He decided that he must make good conditions for this kid in the future, so that he will become the second only card of the guards to him. Are you blind? Different from the satisfied attitude of the guards, the Cloud Shinobi village messengers are all bad. They were furious in the messy wind. In their view, this is a total provocation to their leader. Anyone with a bit of common sense knows that Samui is a woman, right? That's why I have to tell you your gender. One of the most angry was Samui's younger brother, Atsuki, who rushed out and questioned Uchiha Itachi's nose. If you don't give me a standard answer, he will flip the table on the spot. Who are you gesturing with? Uchiha Satoshi frowned, pulled Itachi behind him, and looked at each other proudly. In the end, Uchiha Itachi now belongs to the 3rd squad and is a member of his squad. As a sub-commander, it's right to protect your teammates. Lousy didn't talk to you. Aziz said with a cold face. Insulting his sister among Konoha shinobi is not easy to swallow. And Samui also recovered from the shock just now. But she did not stop her brother's movements. When there is a conflict, the bottom line of Konoha can be better tested. Reikage was able to entrust her with the task of leading the team this time, naturally because he believed in her ability. She has good abilities, and naturally she won't let Reikage down. And who are you with Lousy? This is Konoha. There is Lousy and only our boss is Lousy. How old are you? Uchiha Kong was furious, habitually pretending, and habitually getting slapped in the face. Now that he has Bai Yi as a backer, spewing dung all over his mouth is just a routine method. The key is, the boss didn't say anything, his little brother must stand in front. After becoming a squad leader, he was actually called lousy. Can he suffer this grievance? The squad leader he just mentioned. Not discussed. When that AZ came over and wanted to seek justice with Itachi and tried to hurt someone, Uchiha took the lead without warning, and pressed AZ to the ground on the spot. Shocked. Everything happened too fast. When AZ was pressed to the ground by Uchiha Satoshi, everyone was shocked to see this scene. Especially the ninjas of Cloud Shinobi Village, they are all messed up. Doesn't it mean that if you come to Konoha to negotiate this time, as long as you take a tough attitude, Konoha will be soft? What's the situation? Someone was pressed to the ground before they entered the door. Is this the true attitude of Konoha? Samui looked serious, not expecting this to happen at all. Before she could react, the Cloud Shinobi Village ninjas behind her couldn't bear it anymore and rushed forward. Conflict erupts. Samui stared at Uchiha Bai Yi. She could tell that this man was the boss of these people. She is pondering the attitude of the other party. In any case, they all came to negotiate with Konoha on behalf of Cloud Shinobi Village. What's the situation now? Does the other party deserve the consequences of doing so? Or, was Hokage behind the scenes? Trouble. Insufficient information, master. She and Raikage may have underestimated Konoha's determination, since she and Raikage might have underestimated Konoha's determination. Samui looked at Bai Yi again, and Bai Yi was also looking at her. Without a doubt, this is a stunner. But under the generals, he dodged and rushed over, and he also pressed Samui to the ground. The conflict broke out quickly. But it goes fast. In less than a few minutes, Uchiha's lunatics pushed all the Cloud Shinobi Village ninjas to the ground one by one. So the scene at the Konoha village entrance at the moment is quite spectacular. As the captain of the Konoha guards, Bai Yi locked the hands of the Cloud Shinobi Village negotiating team representative, then pinched it with one hand calmly, and straddled her, without showing any pity. And the members of the guards were pressing the negotiating team members one by one. As for Uchiha Itachi, he stood by and watched this scene, wondering what he was thinking. At this moment, he had a question in his mind. The seniors of the guard team are completely different from the clansmen he saw in the clan. Man, aren't you afraid to stir up the wrath of Cloud Shinobi Village? Being pressed to the ground, Samui's pretty face was white and flushed, obviously furious. You too. Bai Yi let out a laugh, and with his other free hand, he took the cigarette butt in his hand and flicked the soot on top of Sam Yi's head. This is downright insulting. But now Samui is tightly controlled by Bai Yi, and even if he is insulted, he can't resist. I don't care who you are or who you represent. Since we have come to Konoha, we must abide by the Konoha management regulations and maintain the stability of Konoha, which is the duty of my guard team. In other words, a bloodthirsty light flashed in his eyes. Bai Yi held the cigarette butt and pressed it directly on Samui's back. Ignoring her painful whisper, he stood up and stepped on the other's head with one foot. Pity Shongshiyu. Disobedient. Leave a mark on her first, so that she can improve her memory. The beating is necessary to prevent the other party from causing trouble in the village, in case the mission requirements of the self-disciplined guard captain are not met, and the reward for one day is not received. That's really worth it. You and Konoha high-level intrigue can affect the normal order of the village, he will not agree. In other words, here, I represent the rules. There was no emotional fluctuation in his eyes, and the man's indifferent words came again. You're the first offender, this time as a reminder. Take care of your people. It's similar to the move he just rushed to my subordinates in an attempt to attack. I don't want to see it a second time. Far away. Nara Shikahisa, who came to hand over on behalf of Hokage, has already arrived. Bai Yi retracted his feet and waved at his subordinates. Close the team. Yes, Captain. The deafening response represented the awe and fanaticism of the guards. The captain is the eternal god in their hearts. Chapter 13: The conflict between the medical ninja and Hokage's office. Pain. It hurts too much. Uchiha Itachi, why are you avoiding me? Konoha Police Force, Headquarters. When the wailing full of the second breath sounded, Uchiha Itachi looked at his squad leader silently, his face full of struggle. He had no idea what organization he had joined. What the hell is this place? Unlike the group of clansmen with their nostrils turned up in the clan land, the members of the guard team and the other clansmen are completely two kinds of creatures. For example, Uchiha Satoshi, who was still pretending before, is now full of grimness, snarling at him shirtless. Deputy Captain Shanyang, do you know what sub-captain means? Itachi sincerely looks for seniors to learn from. Help him get some medicinal wine. The old god Uchiha Shanyang said in the presence. He was used to this scene. The entire guard team is the guy who can do things. The world of ninjas is full of battles. Even if it was just a brief confrontation, the guards did not pay a price. After all, the people who come here are the elites of Cloud Shinobi Village, and it is not as simple as it seems to want to clean up them. You just came, I'll tell you straight. Sanyong leisurely lit a cigarette, but he was not in a hurry to let Itachi go to drug the strangely named Uchiha Kong. That's the boss's rule. Applying medicine to your companions is a process for everyone to enhance their feelings. This time you didn't get involved, you just saw, so the experience might not be that great. You will know next time you perform a mission. Your companion will attack you under the crotch without hesitation, and you will be willing to stand up for your companion next time when you apply medicine to your companion yourself. Well, according to the boss's meaning, what kind of love is this? Incomprehensible. But not completely incomprehensible. After all, the Cloud Shinobi Village ninja who was looking for trouble for him today came for him at first, but Uchiha Satoshi stood in front of him. Itachi was silent, and silently took the medicinal wine to give Uchiha Satoshi medicine. Far away, Bai Yi smoked a cigarette and watched all this calmly. Taming your minions is the first step. Subtly changing the thinking of the younger brothers, so that they have a sense of belonging to this team, this step is even more critical. As for how Uchiha Itachi chooses, it doesn't matter to him. It's a lack of a standing medical ninja. Bai Yi touched his chin and thought for a while. After Tsunade left Konoha, the speed of training medical ninjas in the village dropped significantly, and generally few medical ninjas were willing to get involved with Uchiha. In addition, there are not enough medical ninjas in the village, and there are constant border wars between countries. It is normal for him to have no medical ninjas here. Medical ninja. To recruit, it has to be the best. The big deal is to tie it back directly. He is powerful and powerful, as a qualified captain of the guard. Even the medical service should naturally enjoy the best service. But just when he was feeling good about the fish, a figure with long purple hair fell in front of him. Just when Bai Yi was thinking about improving the guard's fault tolerance. At the same time, inside Hokage's office, at this moment, the atmosphere in the room was extremely oppressive. With fresh dirt on his face, Samui clutched his shoulders with anger and looked directly at Konoha's third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. Hokage, Cloud Shinobi Village needs an explanation. There is no doubt that at this moment she is representing Cloud Shinobi Village to put pressure on Konoha. On the way, she already understood. Shit, Konoha has a tough attitude. Waiting for the Cloud Shinobi Village messenger group to be pressed to the ground is entirely the decision of the Konoha guard captain himself, and has absolutely nothing to do with Konoha's senior management and third Hokage. That is to say, the previous information is still valid. Konoha is still the weak Konoha, Hokage is still the weak Hokage. As long as you use war as a threat, you can get what you want. That being the case, then their fight is not completely in vain. It even gave Samui a chance to put pressure on third generation. Now her meaning is obvious, the guards have made a move and need Konoha to pay. The old man already knows what your village means. Third generation's face was full of apologetic smiles, its hypocritical appearance made people nauseated, and when the conversation changed, he made an angry expression, and he patted the table. This is the result of this old man's lax control. Don't worry, the old man will definitely let him explain to you. The old man has already sent someone to notify Captain Bai, and I will give you a satisfactory result when he comes over. Anger on his face, as if to express indignation at the fact that the envoy was beaten. But the smile in the old fox's eyes really betrayed his heart. Uchiha Bai, he really gave himself a huge surprise. He was worried about how to get hold of White Fang's handle. It was like giving a pillow when he fell asleep. Well played. Why didn't you kill a few people? In this way, his reasons for impeaching the guards and Uchiha Bai are even more sufficient. The existence of Uchiha Bai is a variable. Third generation never uses pieces that cannot be mastered. The replacement of the guard captain must be on the agenda. Easy to say. Samui's pretty face was gloomy, and he also patted the table. If this incident does not satisfy our Cloud Shinobi village today, Konoha is waiting to bear our anger. Cloud Shinobi village is never afraid of war. An upright threat. Third generation's expression changed. I have to say that this time, Cloud Shinobi village has pinpointed Konoha's weakness. Konoha can't fight. The third ninja war has seriously damaged Konoha's heritage. He has no confidence to face the attack of Cloud Shinobi village. Don't worry. Uchiha Bai's actions have destroyed the friendship between Cloud Shinobi village and Konoha. As Hokage, the old man will make him pay a lot for this. Sarutobi's face was awe-inspiring, and he hurriedly reassured him, but before he could finish speaking, the door of Hokage's office had been pushed open. The man's playful smile and disdainful expression immediately made Sarutobi's face gloomy. Ning still knows that he is Hokage. This is the first time I saw a shadow of a village turn his elbows out, and the degree of turning is so outrageous. Bai's voice was full of sarcasm, and he didn't care about Sarutobi's livid old face. UB************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************* speak, Samui, who had been pressed to the ground by Baiyi, rushed over in a fury when he saw him coming, as if he wanted to teach Baiyi a lesson. She doesn't care that this is Hokage's office. But she believes that this sinner, who angered Cloud Shinobi Village, must not dare to embarrass herself for not giving Hokage's face. Here's your chance. Samui didn't forget the smoke scar on his back. Samui has a good idea. Too bad she met the wrong person. Snapped. Without any politeness, he swung the Samui fan in a circle, and then fell to the ground with a face full of astonishment. Did he do it? How dare he beat up the Cloud Shinobi Village negotiator in front of Hokage? How dare he? Come forward. Squeeze Samui's neck. Baiyi's eyes are not mixed with any emotion. It seems that as long as he wants, his life loss will be taken away by him. How long has it been? You forgot what I said. Strength increases. The first time. When the suffocation hit, Samui felt that death was so close to him for the first time. There was only one thought left in her head. This crazy man, he really dared to kill me. Chapter 14 Lord Third Generation, you are getting old. Konoha. Hokage office. Everything happened too fast. From Baiyi entering the door with a yin and yang spirit, to that Cloud Shinobi Village messenger representative brazenly shot, and now Baiyi is pinching his neck and unable to move. When Sarutobi Hiruzen was furious and wanted to say something. Samui in Baiyi's hands has fallen into a coma because of breathing difficulties. The man didn't say anything nonsense. He lifted Sam Yaikong with one hand on his shoulder, and then looked at Konoha's Hokage-sama gently. According to the Konoha Public Security Administration Regulations, Article 9, the third rule. Privately shot at the police officers, and the police officers have the authority to detain them for 10 to 30 days. Please, Lord Hokage, tell the rest of the negotiating team at Cloud Shinobi Village, I will wait for them to pay the ransom. Sarutobi Hiruzen fell silent, looking at the man who was completely unaware of the seriousness of the problem. At this moment, he doubted his own intelligence. Is it really correct to list Uchiha Baiyi as a potential threat that should be guarded against and handled with caution? Isn't this AF********* G fool without any brains? That's the representative of Cloud Shinobi Village, so you stunned and took it away. Do you know what you're doing? Sarutobi Hiruzen asked tentatively, having doubts about himself and Baiyi's IQ. Uchiha polypsychiatric patient. His teacher, second Hokage Sama, had told this many times. He himself thought so too. I'm afraid this man in front of me is not G sick, right? Use the regulations of Konoha to restrain the ninjas of Cloud Shinobi Village. Is there anything in this world that you can't do? Can you give me a little face? Catch criminals. As for the IQ issue, don't worry, Lord Hokage. My mental strength is comparable to 160 plus Hitaki Kakashi. I have no problem with my IQ at all, and I have no history of Uchiha's mental illness. Bai Yi responded calmly. You fool me. Third generation slammed the table into a rage, stood up and glared at Bai Yi. And Kakashi, who happened to be standing guard at the door of the office, looked blank and always felt offended. Do you know what kind of disaster your actions will bring to the village? She's the messenger representative of Cloud Shinobi Village. Third generation is just and righteous, standing on the commanding heights of morality and bombarding it wildly. Uchiha Bai Yi. You put the village in danger for your own personal gain. Do you think you can bear the loss of Konoha? Bai Yi looked up and down Sarutobi Hiruzen, and then suddenly opened his mouth. When it comes to dealing with my own people, it's a lot like Hokage, Lord Third Generation. Sarutobi's face was ashen. He heard a lot of malice and sarcasm in this sentence. However, I don't agree with what Lord Third Generation said. Disaster. Where is the disaster? He looked around suspiciously, and then Bai Yi bravely patted Samui's CK on the shoulder. Samui, who was in a coma, seemed to be activated by some passive attribute, and murmured against Bai Yi's ear. Don't talk about disaster, where is the loss? Bai Yi shook his head and looked at Sarutobi sincerely. My subordinate suggests that third generation adults eat more walnuts to replenish their brains. I can't wait to eat your brain. Third generation is chilling. Uchiha Bai Yi, what the old man is talking about is war. You should be very clear about this, don't play dumb riddles with the old man, saying that these are not the same things. Sarutobi's face was gloomy. Because of your actions, Cloud Shinobi Village is likely to start a war. Is this a price you can afford as a mere guard captain? He really wanted Cloud Shinobi Village to face off against the Konoha Guard where Bai Yi was, and he was even happy to see the two clash. But this does not mean that he will expand the influence of this matter to the point where war can only be solved. You're getting old, third generation. Bai Yi suddenly opened his mouth and said a seemingly insignificant sentence. What do you mean? Sarutobi's expression froze. War or something, it doesn't matter. If they do get to Konoha Village, I really want to play with them. Bai Yi laughed, waved his hand indifferently, turned and walked towards the entrance of Hokage's office, still carrying Sam Yi, without any thought of letting go of the other party. Until he was about to leave, he suddenly tilted his head and stopped. Oh, right. Don't forget to ask them to redeem people with money. In a word, it represents his attitude. Still go my own way. Just leaving the third generation with a whole lot of mess. This is Uchiha Bai Yi, this is his rule. Sarutobi didn't know. Because he was getting old, his reaction was a step slower, and he didn't try to attack Bai Yi at the moment Bai Yi shot, trying to stop his behavior. Otherwise, shouldn't it be hard to accept that the guards accidentally injured Hokage by law enforcement? Maybe one day, if I don't like Sarutobi Hiruzen myself, I'll probably beat him up for using such a rhetoric. Conspiracy. Intrigue. Unfortunately, those things are nowhere near as useful as their own fists. But today third generation didn't tear up his face and chose to do it. It's very likely that it was because holding him with one hand before gave him a lot of impact, right? Yo tilde great harvest, so you like this one. Watching Bai Yi carry Sam Yi and appear outside the Hokage building. The purple-haired girl started her own cynicism with a sour tone. Don't make trouble, this is a prisoner. Bai Yi took off the girl's mask with a smile, fixed Samui with one hand, and hugged Azuki Shien's slender waist with the other, and walked towards his home as if swaying across the market. This is a special prisoner. Naturally not suitable for the interrogation room of the guard. Cut. Don't go to the custom shop now, and just grab it. Uchiha did not reject Bai Yi's behavior, but the yin and yang's strange tone did not diminish at all. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a good person, I just want her body. Bai Yi said sincerely. As the Konoha guard, such monsters must not cause harm to the world. This is my responsibility. Uchiha's mouth twitched. In a way, this man is really honest. Openly circled Sam Yi into his mansion, and Bai Yi lived as usual. But weirdly, Samui was captured by Bai Yi, but the Cloud Shinobi Village messenger group went quiet. But in practice it is clearly not the case. When what happened in Konoha was introduced to Cloud Shinobi Village and sent to Raikage's desk, along with Raikage's roar, the negotiation originally led by Cloud Shinobi Village completely changed. Chapter 15 Fourth Raikage. I want it all. Konoha Street, people come and go. What surprised Uchiha was that she seemed to have experienced the violence at the entrance of the village yesterday. Instead of feeling alienated from the guards, the villagers greeted Bai Yi enthusiastically. This kind of scene was something she had never seen before. I didn't expect you, the captain of the guard, to be quite popular with the people. Azuki Shion pretended to be cold and said. Today is her day off. Of course, even Anbu, who is a unit directly under Hokage, has public holidays. But obviously her original public holiday was not today. Special adjustment, but because someone happened to be resting today. Therefore, at the invitation of Bai Yi, it was logical to accompany him by his side. This is normal. Bai Yi was very calm, without any thought of avoiding suspicion. Even if the person next to him was an Anbu member, he wasn't worried about what she would report to Hokage. As for the change in the attitude of the villagers, if you think about it carefully, you can understand why. In this world where power is supreme, Muchang is a common phenomenon. It seemed that yesterday Bai Yi did a little too much. But from a certain point of view, the villagers obviously subconsciously regard the people of Cloud Shinobi Village as enemies. After all, the attitudes of various countries have become obvious now, and only Cloud Shinobi Village has been destroying the border of the country of fire, causing friction from time to time. Whose child died today, or whose family lost their parents? Naturally, it is impossible for them to have a good attitude towards the negotiating team. Bai Yi gave them a breath in disguise. Speaking of which, the woman from Cloud Shinobi Village should be very satisfying to you, right? There is a sour taste in the words. Uchiha glanced at her little hand that was caught by Bai Yi, then struggled symbolically for a while, and let Bai Yi hold it after she failed. I'm not that kind of person. Bai Yi's words are righteous. Haha, what you said is also fooling Uchiha. Azuki Shion sneered. If you have that face and visit less custom shops, it's not that I can't agree to be your girlfriend. As a member of Anbu, she is obviously more master of the information in the village than Hong Yuhi. So she knew very well what kind of temperament the man next to her was. To say that it sounds good is to act spontaneously, to say that it sounds bad is to be romantic. It was because he fell too deep that he was willing to be by his side. One of the girlfriends. Bai Yi's face was full of sincerity, and in front of the woman he was pursuing, he frankly confessed the idea of opening up the harem. A self-disciplined strong man, even if he opens a harem, is open and above board. As thick-skinned as he is, he will clarify the situation before dating. UFK. Uchiha was slightly angry, but before she could lose her temper, Sakura's lips were already blocked, and she naturally slumped in Bai Yi's arms. 5 minutes later, the girl blushed, buried herself in Bai Yi's chest, and walked obediently to the entrance of the village. A man with a smile on his face. Seemingly inadvertently, he raised his head towards a figure in the corner, causing the moonlight blast who was watching in the dark to cough violently, almost not spitting out his lungs. I'm so careful, I ignored him. Hearing the movement, Mao Yuxian raised her head with a blushing face and gave a certain man a white glance. This man's little actions never shy away from himself, but the act of taking an oath of sovereignty like this made her feel quite sweet. No, it's just unpleasant to see him. Bai Yi shook his head without arguing. This kid is also looking for death. Knowing his relationship with Mao Yuxian, he even dared to send flowers to make excuses a few days ago. It should be very reasonable, right? Where is this going? Azuki Shion looked around curiously. The two had left the village and were walking on the tree-lined path. At noon, the sun is just right, passing through the leaves and spilling on the ground. It has a different charm. The security force lacks a transfer medical staff. Bai Yi yawned. The addition of non-staff personnel to the guard and the expansion of the ordinance has been approved by Hokage. I see. Azuki Shion nodded. No wonder they went to Might Guy's house before they came out. My boyfriend-to-be seemed very optimistic about Might Guy and invited him to join the guard. She was a little envious at this time. Her time in Anbu has not yet come, and it is impossible for her to be transferred to the guard for the time being. But why are you recruiting medical ninjas out of the village? Azuki Shion asked suspiciously. Shouldn't this kind of thing go to Konoha Hospital? Just come with me. Bai Yi didn't explain either. He couldn't tell her directly that he had already sent someone to inquire about the good news. Did he know the whereabouts of the first nurse in the ninja world? In no hurry. The figures of the two overlapped in the sunlight. They enjoy a peaceful journey. The border of the Fire Nation. A team of 10 people set off from the waterway, escaped the Konoha defense line, and finally penetrated into the hinterland of the Country of Fire. The man at the head was dressed in a capable tights, and had long beige straight hair, which was tied into a long braid that reached his waist. She looks very queenly, but those who know her know that this is a gentle and empathetic female ninja. However, this kind of gentleness will turn into a nightmare for the enemy when performing tasks. It should be said that I have said it all. Should I know the mission this time? The two spoke calmly from Wooden Golem. My subordinate understands. My subordinate understands. The surrounding Cloud Shinobi village ninjas nodded hurriedly. This mission is very important, and no mistakes are allowed. We must let the enemy understand the power of my Cloud Shinobi village, and give us enough pressure. Take a deep breath by Wooden Golem and move his body. As Futao Jinchuriki, one of Cloud Shinobi village's high-end combat powers. She knew very well that since Lord Raikage sent her, it represented her determination for this mission. Wouldn't Jinchuriki step into a trap and go behind enemy lines? No kidding, Wooden Golem alone has performed over 30 S-class dangerous missions. Even Uzumaki Kashina has performed as many as 20 S-class missions. Sir Raikage is extremely angry about what happened to Konoha. After a brief thought, Wooden Golem spoke slowly. In short, according to Lord Raikage's original words, there is only one request for this mission. Staring at everyone, the two of them looked awe-inspiring from Wooden Golem. You repeat it. The Cloud Shinobi village ninja's heart tightened and he quickly let out a low growl. White eyes, Sharingan, I want all of Cloud Shinobi village. Chapter 16 Pupil Technique. Reincarnation lifted. Ninja is not big or small, nor is it small. Like the technology tree of this world, his worldview is also somewhat incomprehensible. The strong can make the moon. But this moon is not the other moon, no matter its size or quality, it cannot be compared with the moon in previous life. But looking from the moon, the size of the earth is by no means comparable to the current ninja world. The ninja world is only a part of the whole earth. There is a lot to explore. Bai Yi intends to go on a journey to explore a world outside the Genin world after he has completed his self-disciplined guard captain mission diligently. But now, he has come to a place that appeared in the original book with Yuhihiro. Short Book Street. It is located in the Land of Fire, so the street gambling industry is prevalent, so it is relatively not difficult to find. Inside the pub, Azuki Shion first glanced awkwardly at the tons of Tsunade in front of her. He turned his head to look at Bai Yi again. You want to recruit medical ninjas. And then went straight to Tsunade-sama. God knows what's going on in the brain circuit of this would-be boyfriend. When a man drinks wine, he blows on the bottle. At least according to Tsunade. He casually glanced at Bai Yi in front of him, and looked disdainfully at the appearance of the other party holding a wine gourd and filling him with slow drinks. Tsunade expressed contempt for this. On the other hand, Shizune, who was next to him, looked at Bai Yi with brilliance in his eyes, and was obviously taken aback by Bai Yi's handsome appearance. Tell me, what's the matter with me? Tsunade has always been straight, and she can't say that she has a good impression of this Konoha shinobi. After all, the other party does not hide her unique clan emblem as a Uchiha clan. But in the end, it was a waste of a meal. Money is tight recently, and drinking like today is already a blessing. Bai Yi didn't speak in a hurry, put down the wine glass, and leaned back on the chair. Meanwhile, Mao Yuxian, who was next to her, was also very discerning at the moment. She gave Bai Yi a cigarette and lit it. As a sensible woman, I understand very well how important it is to show face to my man outside. After an epic burst of lungs, Bai Yi raised Erlang's legs. His appearance was not respectful, and he had a sense of sight of a domineering president. Master Tsunade is short of money. Tsunade doesn't like to go around, and he Uchiha Bai Yi doesn't like it either. Right from the start, he went straight to the point. But he understands that getting Tsunade back to the village to work for him is not an easy task. Grasp the lifeblood is the key. After all, Tsunade left Konoha for many reasons. For example, relatives died on the battlefield, and the whole Senju orthodoxy was left to herself. Another example is that he disagreed with the statement that the tribes were integrated into Konoha. After investigating privately, he found some dirty things. This can be analyzed from the change in her attitude towards her teacher. From a respected teacher to a stinky old man. Bai Yi doesn't believe that he can become the Sannin respected by Konoha shinobi. Tsunade-ji is recognized by the shinobi world as a fool. I'm not cheap. Tsunade narrowed his eyes, not paying attention to Bai Yi's domineering aura. She is really short of money. Leaving Konoha, not performing tasks, and without compensation, coupled with the fact that she is accustomed to spending money, the casino has never won, and now her funds are stretched. Recently, she is studying how to trap those loan sharks, and then salvage a fortune. It's not too easy for a ninja to do this kind of thing. So, to a certain extent, she is short of money, but she is not short of it. It's amazing that people can get away with debt collection with a transformation technique. Apparently, she did the same in the original book. To sum up, if you want her to do something, that decisive bargaining chip is the real key. Lord Tsunade. Is it easy for people to misunderstand this conversation? Shizune next to him was silent for a while. Now the two of them look very much like someone who wants to buy the other party's second, and then negotiate the price. Bai Yi wasn't in a hurry either. It wasn't hard for him to get Tsunade. The strong self-discipline system gave him countless rewards. If it wasn't for the fact that he didn't want his subordinates to be the kind of machines that the Walking Dead only knew to perform their tasks, he would have already started robbing people. After thinking for a moment, Bai Yi flicked the soot and opened his mouth. The biggest casino in Konoha is my property. Give you 5 million a day, and you can bet as you like. Very exciting condition. But not enough. Tsunade remained silent, but unmoved. Although she can splurge at the casino as she likes, it makes her very excited. But only if that casino is in Konoha. It's just a bonus. Bai Yi said calmly. The next condition is about your Senju clan. Your brother died strangely back then. Don't you want to know the reason? This is the blockbuster. In an instant, a terrifying aura emerged from Tsunade, his indifferent eyes full of anger and murderous intent. He directly chose to slap the case up. What do you know? No one can make fun of her dead relatives. No one can do it. I suggest you ask him about it yourself. Bai Yi shook his head, unaffected by Tsunade's aura. His fighting power is several hundred times that of Hitaki Kakashi, and he doesn't take Tsunade's power into consideration at all. What do you mean? Ask a dead man. Ask yourself what happened to your dead brother. Tsunade stared blankly at Bai Yi. Throwing down the cigarette butts, Bai Yi is too lazy to talk nonsense. Since he dared to come to Tsunade, he must be fully prepared. As a qualified police captain, it is natural to show your sincerity to let people work as your subordinates. Raising a dead man is nothing to his master's power. When he rescued Uzumaki Kushina, He used Chio's reincarnation technique, which consumed half of Kakashi's increased physical vitality, and he recovered it the next day. But now, he intends to use another way. Summoning technique. Impure world reincarnation. He snapped his fingers lightly. The power of impure world reincarnation is to forcibly pull out the souls locked in the pure land and place them in the sacrifices. The medium is nothing but the remnants of the relevant corpse of others. You are playing with the dead. Impure world reincarnation. This forbidden technique was developed by Tsunade's second grandfather. During the First Ninja War, Konoha also relied on impure world reincarnation to stably occupy the first generation's death, completely establishing the status of the first ninja village. Exclamation mark. So this forbidden technique, Tsunade knows it. At this time, she obviously misunderstood. It is believed that Bai Yi asked her to ask her brother to use impure world reincarnation to disturb her brother's dead soul. Bai Yi glanced at him indifferently. With just one look, Tsunade's expression changed drastically, and he instantly stepped back to remain vigilant. The three-hook jade spins rapidly. When the brand new Mangekyo emerges inside the man's through-hole, a ray of golden light directly shrouded the sacrifice in the coffin that was summoned out. Reincarnation lifted. Mangekyo spun rapidly, a strange power erupted instantly, and a phantom slowly emerged from behind Bai Yi. A soul visible to the naked eye was caught in front of him. In the name of the king, give you a new life. From nothing. This is his Mangekyo of Uchiha Bai Yi. Chapter 17. Go back to wash and sleep, I have to go to work tomorrow. Still a familiar tavern. The shocking scene is over. But the boss at the front desk, as well as the guests not far away, didn't seem to be affected, and turned a deaf ear to doing their own things. The only thing that changed was the irritable sister and brother who wept bitterly together. Bai Yi is very calm. At this time, he was enjoying the adoring gaze of Yu Shian, eating the barbecue she brought to his mouth. I've never heard of the Uchiha clan's pupil technique, but it can even bring people back to life. Azuki Shian knew that her would-be boyfriend was very strong, but never knew where his limits were. She would be hanged and beaten every time she competed with swordsmanship, and she had long regarded Bai Yi as an idol. It can save people, and it can kill people. Simply put, it consumes pupil power and determines the fate of a soul. Bai Yi shrugged his shoulders, indicating that it was just a trivial matter. From nothing. This is one of his pupil techniques. As a traverser, bound to the strong self-discipline system, his pupil power is not given by the system, but it has received some kind of increase. According to the system, the ordinary pupil technique does not match his strong status. In fact, it is. Pulling the soul of impure world reincarnation, using sacrifice as a medium to create a person's body, and resurrecting it after fusion, this is just a simple trivial matter, a very common function. As for why he didn't save Kushina in the first place, he even saved Minato. The reason is simple. He is no saint. Although not completely bad, but also not a good person. On the one hand, people didn't ask him to save him, they just asked him to take care of Kushina Paris, and it was impossible for Bai Yi to rush to save him. On the other hand, at that time, he had not been promoted to Eternal Mangekyo, and he did not want to waste his pupil power to become myopic. Besides, Minato seems to have ideas of his own. It's not hard to guess what he's thinking. Bai Yi can also figure out one or two. For example, during his time as Hokage, he also saw through the essence of Konoha, and knew that even if he lived, he could not change anything substantial. So he pinned his hopes on his son, which can be seen from the fact that he left his own chakra in his son's body. Use your own death to hone your son's growth. Bai Yi said he didn't understand. Well, Bai Yi doesn't have the right to say that this father is not responsible. Anyway, he thinks he takes good care of Kushina. As for the relationship between the two, it's reasonable that a woman wants someone to rely on, and he wants to enjoy life. A long time. Tsunade finally recovered. This bold woman has never been clear. Bai Yi resurrected his younger brother. Not in the impure world reincarnation way of playing with the dead, which she was grateful for. Certainly. Judging from Bai Yi's thoughts, Dead people are dead people. There is no resurrection method to play with the dead or something, to resurrect the dead, in fact, to play with the dead. But Tsunade didn't object to that approach, and he didn't say anything. After all, her brother Naoki has been resurrected, so she can't be beaten to death, right? That's really playing with the dead. He didn't rush to ask what happened when his brother died. Tsunade was arrogant for a while, then sat back in his chair and looked at Bai Yi. And Naoki, with tears on his face and a dazed emotion, was pulled aside by Shizune to talk. What do you need me to do? As long as it's not something that threatens the village, I won't refuse. Tsunade said it bluntly. It's a good thing. Bai Yi is not as anxious as some guys. After all, according to the usual routine, he should playfully ask the other party if he can ask for anything. He didn't do that, and even if he did, he wouldn't have a relationship because Tsunade owed him a favor. The previous conditions remain unchanged. In addition to the gambling capital, there is also a considerable salary. Bai Yi took a sip of the wine gourd and said comfortably. To be honest, I am the captain of the Konoha Guard, and I want to do something for the village. So from now on, the security force will set up a medical department, and you will be the medical team leader. Of course, you don't need to do it yourself, it's training, or recruiting people again. I hope that my team members can be treated in time for injuries in the future. That's it. Very simple request. This time, Bai Yi never thought that his act of persuading Tsunade would fail. At the end of the day, it was also of interest, and I took Yu Yushian out to see the scenery. Asking Tsunade to join the guard or something is just an incidental. Guards. Go back to Konoha. Tsunade glanced at Bai Yi with a surprised look, and then glanced at his younger brother. She was lost in thought. Maybe. I have to go back once. Originally about Naoki's death. Orochimaru, Naoki's lead teacher, was vague. This in itself is doubtful. In addition, Naoki was the only remaining Senju lineage man at that time, and his death really caused the bloodline of the Senju family to be interrupted. It is also convenient to investigate some things after going back. I promise. When are you leaving? Tsunade, who has always been vigorous and resolute, has decided one thing, so he won't be dragging his feet. Holding the wine glass, she collided with Bai Yi's wine gourd, and she drank it all. Putting down the wine glass, the woman's gaze towards Bai Yi was a bit complicated. A person from the Uchiha clan, doing the best is a matter of changing the medical treatment of the guards. It made her wonder. But none of this has much to do with her. If the benefits are the same as what Bai Yi said, she is naturally willing to go back. But let's talk about it first. Although I'm Sanin of Konoha, I'm the old man's disciple, but don't expect to use me and him for any calculations. A gleam of light flashed in his eyes. Tsunade spoke out on his terms. In other words, she can go back, but don't expect her to help in the power struggle between Uchiha and the village. After all, she was originally from the Senju clan, and had a general impression of the Uchiha clan. Besides, she decided when she left the village that she didn't want to get involved in a dirty fight until the darkness of the village receded. That's my guard. No one has the right to interfere, I have my rules, and no one can break my rules. Not even Hokage. Bai Yi stood up and said calmly. As for when to leave. If you're done eating, let's go. Go back to wash and sleep early, and have to go to work tomorrow. Tsunade. Chapter 18 Resistors, Shoot to Kill. Yo Naoki. Do you think it is more reasonable to give you a new life in the name of the king, or to give you the status of a guard team member in the name of the captain? The road is not too far. The moonlight is beautiful tonight. Bai Yi put his arms around the blushing Mao Yushian, who held Bai Yi's hand tightly, not letting him do anything wrong. It wasn't that she couldn't wipe her face, but Tsunade's strange expression next to her made her very ashamed. However, Bai Yi's movements were very concealed, except for Tsunade who noticed a little. Everyone else was on their way normally. Brother Bai Yi says what he says. Naoki was a bachelor and said that the problem was not a big deal. The man in front of him is his benefactor. He clearly knew that he was dead. And long dead. In the hazy memory, The person who didn't know the name, the hideous face, was confused and couldn't remember anything after that. Don't call me eldest brother, I haven't been the eldest brother for many years, so call me Captain Bai Yi. Bai Yi said with a smile, stretched out his free hand and rubbed the fat face of the little fat man. This kid is very smart. Sure enough, Naoki's death was a problem. The official record is that he strayed into the detonator trap and was directly killed. But according to this kid's hazy memory, it seems that their team did not advance along that route. The reason why they strayed into the trap was because someone was deliberately inducing them. And when the trap exploded, he had a chance to escape. But it seems to be held back by someone. With the direct blood of the Senju family, Tsunade's younger brother, he is not that kind of pure waste, and the mere detonating charm trap is not so difficult to deal with. What follows is much simpler. Find the person at the beginning, and the things of that year will naturally come to light. Certainly. A more direct way is to find Orochimaru and confront him on the spot. Mr. Snake has already defected, and he doesn't care why his disciple died before. I think it's more appropriate to call him brother-in-law Bai Yi. The young man is very smart, and he has great admiration for a man who can control the life and death of others at his fingertips. Naoki was more polite than Bai Yi thought. Well licked. After Uchiha Satoshi, another talent appeared in his guard. Bai Yi nodded with satisfaction. As for Uchiha Itachi, he didn't do it twice. It is obviously impossible to let Uchiha Itachi, who is called the father killer, be a licking dog. It's almost there. Tsunade sighed slightly and looked at the shadow in the hazy night ahead. Her eyes were a little complicated. No doubt. She has feelings for this village. But this kind of feeling has been consumed a little bit, and it is about to be worn away. It was like the emptiness that she and Shizune brought after grinding glass when the night was dark. If it wasn't for Bai Yi's resurrection of her younger brother, she might never come back for the rest of her life. After pulling his younger brother, he simply helped him make things easier, and Tsunade finally felt relieved. Yes, dressed like this, if he is our illegitimate child outside, some people should believe it. Bai Yi didn't care about the black lines on Tsunade's face, and said with great satisfaction. Naoki was not very old when he died. Even though he graduated from ninja school and went to the battlefield. But at the time of war, in order to make up for the loss of Konoha, it was the norm to provide cannon fodder to the front line and let the students of the ninja school graduate early. Naruto in the original book is lucky to have a good teacher and is also lucky to be in a peaceful age. He simply has not experienced the pain of war. In addition, after being resurrected, it is more immature, and it is no problem to say that it is the illegitimate child of the two. Certainly. The premise is that Bai Yi's age is not considered, otherwise, others will think that he is driving a big car with Tsunade at the age of 10. You'd better not talk nonsense. Tsunade's face was expressionless. After squinting Bai Yi, he pulled his younger brother aside. Near Konoha, Bai Yi yawned and glanced at Uyushian who was blushing beside him. He felt that the time was ripe. But when he was about to say something, he suddenly frowned, and his huge perception expanded instantly. Enhanced Kagura Heart Eye. With Bai Yi's perception, it only takes a single thought to cover the entire Konoha village within his perception. Can't stand it anymore. Bai Yi smiled slightly. He deliberately came back tonight, not because he had to clock in for work tomorrow. It was because, knowing that they had left the village, some people would definitely be unable to hold back their actions. In particular, when he learned that tonight was the third birthday of the white-eyed princess Hyuga Hinata, he knew even more that he needed to come back to watch the show tonight. But to his surprise, the actions of Cloud Shinobi Village are not just for the Hyuga family. As expected of Reikage, if his face is hit, he can't wait to get back to the scene. Bai Yi smiled slightly, and at the same time, a pleasant system prompt sounded in his ears. Self-discipline guard captain, related tasks have started. Detection that the host is on holiday, please choose a host. Choose 1, you refuse to work overtime on rest days, take a good rest and sleep, your self-discipline captain reward for that day will be slightly reduced. Choose 2, Assemble the guard team urgently. Fulfill the duties of the guard captain. Anyone who dares to challenge the authority of the guard captain will have to pay for it. The higher the degree of completion of this option, the higher the evaluation of the day, which will also affect the overall period of host's tenure. Evaluation. Is this still an option? Isn't this his own mind? The system is quite nice. Bai Yi rolled his eyes. After all, as the captain of the guard, he couldn't tolerate such provocative behavior. As for the promotion of the evaluation during the tenure and the evaluation of the day, this is a pleasant surprise. You must know that the task of the self-discipline captain will bring him rewards every day, and everyone will dislike their own strength and become stronger. About to enter the village, Bai Yi looked cold. Tsunade looked at Bai Yi suspiciously, but when she looked over, she was stunned for a moment, then frowned. What's going on here? However, this man is quite temperamental when he is serious, and he is also a little handsome. Xian will take you to the guard, and... Throwing a token to Tsunade, Bai Yi spoke again. Give the token to Uchiha Shanyang, and ask him to assemble the guards to focus on patrolling the Hyuga clan's land, and any suspicious persons will be arrested on the spot. Rebels, shoot to kill. Chapter 19 Bai Yi. I want to ask you a question. Prepare for action. Under the cover of night. The squad moves extremely fast, and black is the best cover color. Dressed in tights, the two from Wooden Golem looked calm and looked at the area ahead. The action went much smoother than she expected. She never expected that the defense in front of her would be so slack. Uchiha tribe. The security task of guarding the clan's land is decided by the clan elders in the Uchiha clan. Over the years, there have been no surprises. So naturally you will relax a lot. After all, this is Konoha, and the Uchiha family is not worried about their own safety. It is also because of this idea that Uchiha Itachi's actions in the original work will be so smooth. Think about it too. Even with the help of Itachi and Anbu, even with the help of Obito, the Uchiha clan is not so easy to be wiped out. On the one hand, Uchiha Fugaku did not resist, on the other hand, the guards were too poor. Years of pampering have already turned the iron-blooded clan during the Sengoku period into toothless tigers who only know how to brag. Ahead is the destination. According to the intelligence, Samui is being held here. Front. It's a huge manor. According to known information, this is the house of Uchiha Bai Yi, and Samui was not put in the cell of the Konoha guard, but was sent here. What a luxury. Looking at the huge house and the decorations in the house, a murderous intent flashed in Wooden Golem's eyes. In the history of the ninja world, there have been many records about prisoners. Being a ninja, especially a female ninja, you must be prepared for the worst after being caught. It's hard to imagine what's happening to Samui right now. I have contacted with the negotiating team before, and I have not received any effective news. Only know that Uchiha Bai Yi left the village during the day, and now is the best time to rescue. Follow Lord Raikage's orders. Rescue alone will not show the power of their Cloud Shinobi village. Rescue Samui, that's just one of the tasks. To know. This time Cloud Shinobi village sent a negotiating team to Konoha, which is not a secret in the ninja world, and almost every major ninja village is waiting for the outcome of the negotiations. It can be said that after this negotiation, the status of Cloud Shinobi village in the ninja world will be directly established. But you see how Konoha does it. When the negotiating team came to Konoha, they were directly beaten to the ground by the Konoha guards, and then the leaders of the negotiation team were arrested by the captain of the guards, and now their life and death are unknown. Isn't that hitting him Cloud Shinobi village and fourth Raikage in the face in front of everyone? How can Raikage endure such a move? He released the Sharingan, the rhetoric with a scornful eye, and sent two absolute elites, Wooden Golem, to rescue a negotiating team leader. Tonight, he's going to make the Uchiha blood flow into a river and collect the Sharingan. Yes. Raikage had heard rumors about Hitaki Kakashi before. According to information from Cloud Shinobi village, Kakashi is called a copy ninja because of the existence of Sharingan. Since this Sharingan can be used on Kakashi, an outsider, he should deduct a few more pairs for the ninjas in Cloud Shinobi village, which is reasonable, right? In order to achieve this goal, he paid a small price. Besides, the Konoha high-rise is not moving, and you, even a mere captain of the guard, dares to hit me in the face of Cloud Shinobi Village. Who gave you courage? It won't be long before other shinobi villages in the ninja world will know that Konoha doesn't give him Cloud Shinobi Village face, so he has to beat his face back. Taking Uchiha Bai for surgery, this is the safest way. And according to the news, the Uchiha clan did not deal with the senior officials of Konoha, especially Konoha 3rd Hokage and the guard captain. Uchiha Bai had a conflict, and 3rd Hokage's son was caught by the guard captain. From the analysis of this news, it means that if you take action against Uchiha Bai, it is very likely that the senior officials of Konoha will not be angry. These are all Raikage's calculations, and the real purpose of sending the wooden golem here. Mere Konoha dare to hit them in the face of Cloud Shinobi Village. Then meet him, the fury of his Cloud Shinobi Village. 4th Raikage. Cloud Shinobi Village will have revenge. He wanted to make the whole shinobi world see clearly how tough Cloud Shinobi Village was about negotiating, and because of this, he wanted Konoha executives and 3rd Hokage to be afraid of himself and seek more benefits during negotiations. Superior. With a wave of his hand, Wooden Golem pulled out the kunai and climbed over the wall indifferently. But the next moment, she and the team members she was in were stunned. The house is huge. The walls were not empty. At this moment, a woman was calmly coiling her hair, glancing at the blood red in the roots of her hair. She sighed slightly and seemed a little distressed. After the disguise, she is a standard black and straight, but her hair will always grow out, and she will retouch it every once in a while. If you want me to tell you, you can just show up in Konoha, and no one dares to say anything with me. Even if you want to look at Naruto honestly. In addition to the woman playing with her hair, Wooden Golem saw the handsome man who ignored himself and others drinking tea. Uchiha Bai. Regarding Bai's identity and appearance, they already knew when they took on the mission. But the information from Wooden Golem is that Bai is not in the clan. Information gone wrong. The two were weighted by Wooden Golem, signaling their subordinates not to act rashly, as if they wanted to test it out. She was sure that this man had found himself. But he doesn't seem to be very interested in himself and others, and he is too lazy to pay attention. Forget it, 3rd generation has its own considerations. Kushina sighed slightly, shook his head, glanced casually at the ninjas in night clothes, and a trace of pity flashed in his eyes. As a pillow, no one knows the strength of this man better than her. Even if it was only 3 years ago, when he was rescued by this man from Nine-Tails' claws, this man was already outrageously strong. In the past 3 years, who knows how far he has grown. To know. Not everyone can make Nine-Tails shiver with just one look. You are so naive. Bai Yi laughed in disapproval. It shouldn't be long, right? The young Naruto will be out of the state of being taken care of, and will live a life of drinking expired milk and eating instant noodles. He was looking forward to Kushina's expression at that time. Ignoring Kushina, Bai Yi looked at the two wooden golems in a leisurely manner. Hey, it's your turn. With his legs crossed, an inexplicable light flashed in the man's eyes. I'm curious, how did you bypass the border of the Fire Nation, Konoha's guarding power? I'm also curious, how did you pass through the barrier of Konoha without being discovered, or did someone open the barrier for you so that you can come in and disrupt the order of my Konoha? Get up slowly. Bai Yi walked towards the sneak attack team step by step. Well, it doesn't matter. Shaking his head, Bai Yi let out a sigh, and then the gentleness on his face disappeared. Followed by that boundless murderous aura. Ask you a question. You guys, do you even know the FK? Do you know that Lousy is off today? Chapter 20. Hyuga Hiyashi's eyes full of hope. The night is dark. Uchiha tribe, Bai Yi's manor. The confrontation has only just begun. Kushina's thoughts drifted elsewhere. Futao Jinchuriki probably won't be able to test this man's full strength. She thought to herself. Say something. Kushina wanted to know where Bai Yi's limits were. It's a pity that in Konoha, there is very little chance for Bai Yi to shoot himself, so I never had the chance to watch Bai Yi's battle. From Wooden Golem's dignified expression, his entire body was trembling. She didn't know what happened. But now, as Jinchuriki, the second tail in her body is giving a frantic warning. Run. Run. Run as far as you can. Tailed beast. Offer a chakra fight to Jinchuriki. Do not make jokes. As a tailed beast, there is an instinctive reaction to danger. Just now, when the man exuded a trace of breath, Erwei seemed to fall into the abyss and just wanted to crawl under the other's feet. Who is he? What kind of momentum is this? Can the man in front of him still be called a human being? The energy that seems to break through the limits of the human body makes it without the slightest idea of resistance. Even at that moment, its first thought was to drive its own Jinchuriki to surrender. Yes. The trembling legs of Wooden Golem are restraining themselves from kneeling. That is the crushing brought by the absolute superior, which makes people unable to think of resistance. The perception of ordinary people is obviously impossible to surpass that of tailed beasts. A certain Cloud Shinobi village ninja who couldn't bear to suppress the atmosphere burst out on the spot, and rushed to Bai Yi in an instant. Senin's bitterness turned towards Bai Yi's throat. Not that he can't use ninjutsu. But even now, he was still thinking about the task that Reikage had given him. This action is an assassination. Ninjutsu is very lethal, but it is easy to attract attention. If it attracts the guards of the Uchiha family, it will only cause more trouble. Moreover, the hands-on Cloud Shinobi Village ninja is obviously ranked in the top of the Cloud Shinobi Village's strength, advocating the strength brought by Reikage's ninjutsu, and he also exercises his body from time to time. He is quite confident in his own skills and his physical strength. Right now, he's about to get it. Seeing Kuwu approaching Bai Yi's neck, there was a hint of a smile in his eyes. Konoha Guard Captain Uchiha Bai Yi. But so. Boom. Boom. Regrettably. When a sound that seemed to tear the air exploded, he only felt a sharp pain in his chest, and rolled his eyes on the spot. Under people's attention, the chest of the Cloud Shinobi Village ninja who was very confident in raising himself completely collapsed, and Bai Yi's feet had been kicked on it. The force went from bottom to top, and the corpses of the Cloud Shinobi Village ninjas rose into the air like a heaven-defying comet, and flew away like fireworks. Yes. He is dead. The moment Bai Yi shot, his fate was already doomed. Behind him, Kushina raised his head and glanced at the anti-gravity ninja flying straight into the night sky with a complicated look. What do you say you're okay with messing with him? Don't say it's you, even Nine Tails has to crawl under this man's feet. Yes, your Cloud Shinobi Village ninja is physically stronger, but can you be stronger than Nine Tails? It is estimated that if this man wanted to, he could make Nine Tails fly into the sky. Next, it's you. Seemingly interested, Bai Yi stretched out in relief. Whoosh. Action complete. His figure rushed out like a spring. One punch, one kick. It looks like a very ordinary move, but it is an understatement to directly blow up the two Cloud Shinobi Village ninja bodies. The rain of blood mixed with the uncontrollable smell of blood, finally let the two of them wake up from Wooden Golem. Invincible. A monster appeared in Konoha. This news will be reported to Lord Reikage. Withdraw. Retreat. She finally understood her situation, gritted her teeth and glanced at the men who died one after another, and stepped back. But before she could speed up, a golden chain surrounded her directly. Well, you don't need to spend chakra to suppress Nine Tails, adamantine sealing chains is much stronger. Huh. That's not right. I remember this trick before. Kushina tugged at the golden chain in surprise, and touched her chin with her other hand in confusion. She is getting stronger. There is no doubt about that. Not only the master of sealing technique, but also his physique and chakra quantity have improved by leaps and bounds. She hadn't tried it before, she just felt that she had changed a bit, but now she was completely convinced. Don't be surprised. In the blink of an eye, all the intruding enemies were destroyed. The smell of blood in the air rose to the sky. Bai Yi waved his hand, took out a tissue and wiped his palm, then smiled at Kushina. This is a benefit, feel it slowly. Is it because of him? Kushina was silent. But the two of them were relieved the most, that is, at night. Suddenly, She thought of a fragment. That night, as the two of Hinmei cuddled together, Kushina rolled her eyes. B********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************She asked. Pregnant. Work hard with your physique and wait until you absorb enough. Not a word came. At this moment, Xiao Chili's face was flushed and confused. I still have things to do, she's leaving it to you. Waving his hand, Bai Yi was too lazy to explain anything. The matter on the manor side is over. Next, we need to go to the Hyuga tribe. It is destined to be impossible to be calm tonight, and the next thing is the main event. It is related to my overtime evaluation today, so I must not be sloppy. From today to now, I haven't received the prompt sound of the reward from the system, so it can be seen that things are not going well there. He also didn't expect Uchiha Shanyang to handle things beautifully. What happened tonight was the forcible intervention of the guards. But as the guards, it is their duty to maintain the stability of the village. And until he turned to leave, a figure finally smashed into the ground. Konoha. Hyuga tribe. Even at night, the lights are still bright here. Today is a big day. The little princess of the Hyuga family celebrated her birthday. After a busy day, it was time to rest. What makes Hyuga Hiyashi furious is that his daughter is gone. After opening his eyes and following him smoothly, he finally found the person who kidnapped his daughter. Fight, kill in anger. Everything happened naturally. But when the vice captain of the Cloud Shinobi village negotiator, Samui's younger brother Azi came with Hokage, he was silent. This is a scam. Also a conspiracy. Soon, he thought about the reason for the whole thing. He is not stupid. As the patriarch of the Hyuga clan, although he adheres to the word, go, in the first place and tries not to violate the interests of the high level, his position in Konoha is extremely stable. He honestly did what the clan should do. Rao is so, Bai Yan is still being stared at. Before the combination, when Cloud Shinobi village fought against Konoha, it suffered because of the existence of white eyes. Looking at the aggressive look of the other party now, everything is not so elusive. Now, inside the Hyuga house, Hyuga Hiyashi and the guards of the Hyuga clan, Hokage and a group of doglegs, and the Cloud Shinobi village messenger group, these three forces are in a stalemate. Hyuga Hiyashi looked at Konoha's third Hokage with hope in his eyes. Hokage, it should be towards his own people, right? Chapter 21 Killing is good, there is nothing wrong with killing. Why hasn't my sister come yet? The standoff continues. Azi has a big head. Things did go according to plan and went smoothly. But as expected, Samui would be rescued, and the scene of coming together to put pressure on Hokage did not appear. What should we do now? Azi frowned, and he had no choice but to bite the bullet. Attitude must be tough. This is specifically emphasized in the plan. Glancing at third Hokage not far away, Azi narrowed his eyes. Hokage should have a different attitude than he expected. At this time, Sarutobi Hiruzen was smoking a bong, his eyes flashing, and he seemed to be thinking about something. Third Hokage. Today's event, I need an explanation for Cloud Shinobi village. Azi said coldly. Why did I, the messenger of Cloud Shinobi village, disappear for no reason and died in the Hyuga clan's clan? Could this be the sincerity of your Konoha negotiation? First, I condoned the Konoha guards to arrest people, and now I force the change to do it directly. It seems that Konoha really doesn't take our Cloud Shinobi village seriously. The threat is beyond words. This is definitely a misunderstanding. Konoha is a village that yearns for peace and will never do anything to hurt the messenger. Third generation took a puff and quickly spoke to comfort him. Even if I believe this, our Raikage of Cloud Shinobi village will not believe it. Azi is very tough. If this is Konoha's response to the negotiation, I can guarantee that Cloud Shinobi village will make Konoha pay a heavy price. I'm not afraid to tell you, Raikage has sent a message before. He is very dissatisfied with the fact that you detained my sister for no reason. Now he has organized the troops to prepare for the invasion of the country of fire at any time. Raikage has a move. Sarutobi Hiruzen was startled and looked at Hyuga Hiyashi, who was not far away, holding Hyuga Hinata. Lord Hokage, Don't listen to this person's words. Hyuga Hiyashi is full of energy, and as the head of the Hyuga clan, he is still very aura. Today's little girl's birthday, how could the thieves try to kidnap Hinata when we weren't paying attention? I made a move in a hurry, I didn't have a good grasp of the scale. Not finished yet. Hyuga Hiyashi was stunned for a moment, and he met third generation's sharp eyes. Patriarch Hiyashi admitted to killing the messenger of Cloud Shinobi Village. What does it mean? Hyuga Hiyashi was stunned. As Hokage, people in my village were attacked, why is this attitude? I shot and killed people, but I didn't even know they were. Halfway through the sentence, Hyuga Hiyashi came to his senses. Is this making yourself the culprit? Bear the price of the death of the Cloud Shinobi Village messenger. Envoy, please rest assured, since the people of your village died in the Hyuga family's clan, the old man will definitely let him give you a satisfactory explanation. That's right, to put it bluntly today, Hyuga Hiyashi is too reckless, it's up to him to explain. To kill the messenger by mistake, does Patriarch Hiyashi know what he is doing? Get a hint from third generation. Udatane Kaharu, next to third generation, joins in with Mitokado Homura. As soon as he turned his head, the sharp eyes just now disappeared, replaced by a hypocritical smile, trying to appease Aziz's emotions. It's hard to imagine why he treats himself and his enemies so differently. According to Lord Hokage, I killed the wrong person. Hyuga Hiyashi's face was full of grief, and he still kept the last glimmer of hope for Hokage in his heart. The scene in front of me is truly unbelievable. But again, this is what actually happened. Even the original is the same. Glancing at the aggrieved Hyuga Hiyashi, third generation seemed to want to say something. But a uniform footstep sounded from far to near, and after a while, the Konoha guard came with a strong force. Uchiha Sanyo, why are you here? Third generation's old face turned cold, and looked at the man in the lead somewhat unexpectedly. The guards received information that someone was making trouble in the Hyuga clan's clan. Chief Hiyashi, where is the culprit? Birds are not birds, Sarutobi Hiruzen. Uchiha Sanyo spoke calmly, looked at Hyuga Hiyashi and asked. The prisoner has been slaughtered. I killed him on the spot. The guards are here. Hyuga Hiyashi was a little surprised and a little puzzled. Did anyone call the police? He does not know. But he only knew that from the attitude of Uchiha Sanyo, it seemed that he was on his side. Otherwise, they will not be called criminals. I finally have my own. Hyuga Hiyashi burst into tears, wishing to give Uchiha Sanyo a hug. Good kill. Sub-Commander Uchiha Satoshi spoke proudly and pushed Itachi out. The corner of Itachi's mouth twitched, and he knew that this was an opportunity given to him by his squad leader. After a moment of silence, he understood the situation in front of him. Itachi sighed and muttered. I also think that there is nothing wrong with Hiyashi-senpai's killing. He is sincere. If someone else's daughter was kidnapped, someone else would probably be furious and kill. Just imagine, if Hyuga Hiyashi doesn't catch up today, what kind of life will be faced with this 3-year-old girl in the future? Bloodline. Still the blood of the clan. Being treated as a fertility machine is the best outcome. What's wrong with his daughter being kidnapped and murdering him as a father? Hyuga Hiyashi nodded excitedly. Uchiha Sanyo, Uchiha Itachi, Uchiha Satoshi. What are you going to do? My Hokage is still here, and you don't need to decide whether it is right or wrong. Watching the guards spoil things. The third generation, who adhered to the purpose of attacking the inside, was instantly furious. It's none of your business here, the old man ordered you to close the team in the name of Hokage. Also ordered in Hokage's name. The members of the guard were sneered. Only Uchiha Itachi blinked, not knowing what he was thinking. At this time, he was in trouble. He's a three-faced undercover agent, but he's not sure what Hokage is trying to do now. After all, undercover guards have to show their attitude as not. But now is he obeying Hokage's orders to retreat, or obeying the orders of the guards to stay still? Such a profound question. It looks like the conflict between Uchiha and the village. Itachi bowed his head and sighed. Suddenly, just when Itachi was in a dilemma, the entire guard team moved. I saw that they seemed to rehearse countless times, and they retreated to the left and right in an orderly manner. In just a few breaths, all the guards were leaning on either side, leaving a path in the middle. And a figure is walking leisurely. See who's coming. For a moment, Sarutobi Hiruzen growled with a frosty face. Chapter 22 killed a few people and caught a cat. The night is dark. It is still the clan of the Hyuga clan. At this moment, Uchiha Itachi looked at the scene in front of him with a certain feeling. With an explosion out of thin air, the king made his debut. Probably describing someone like Captain Baiyi. Itachi swears. Uchiha Baiyi is the most imposing person he has ever met. I don't know who wins and who loses when comparing Uchiha Madara during the Sengoku period with Captain Baiyi. Certainly, none of this matters. Itachi, who was distracted, stood by the side, pretending to imitate the enthusiastic eyes of the guards, staring at each other. Destroy Dad, if you can't pretend, you don't need to pretend. Baiyi gently patted Itachi's face and said very understandingly. Itachi's expression changed, subconsciously ignoring Baiyi's address to himself, and then hurriedly spoke. I don't know what the captain is talking about. I don't know. Baiyi is too lazy to talk nonsense with him. He can still tell the difference between really worshipping himself and pretending. A familiar scene. Baiyi glanced at Hyuga Hiyashi with emotion. This kid must really want to see now. Someone speaks for him, right? It's very similar to the scene when Kakashi's father was persecuted. Uchiha Satoshi lives up to its name. Seeing that the boss fell into emotion, he hurriedly brought over a cigarette and lit it. Through the lungs, swallowing. Baiyi let out a chuckle, ignoring the murderous gaze of the third generation, walked to Hyuga Hiyashi step by step, and patted his shoulder. There are many businesses in the Hyuga family, and they are loyal supporters of our guards. In other words, since the Hyuga family has always been a big payer, they should be protected by the guards. This is true. Even at first, the Hyuga clan did not look down on the guards formed by the Uchiha clan. He scoffed at the guards' actions to collect protection fees. But rules are rules. Everyone else has paid, but if you don't, what does it mean? And this thing doesn't require Baiyi to make small moves, and other merchants will join forces to make you stumble. So naturally, the Hyuga family has become a big payer of protection fees. Tell me, what's wrong? This captain is in charge of you. My guards, always worthy of the cloak of justice behind me. Stepping on the head of the Cloud Shinobi village ninja killed by Hyuga Hiyashi, and flicking the cape behind him, Baiyi said righteously. Look at the man pretending in front of you. Hyuga Hiyashi looks complicated. Perhaps before that, he was told that when the Hyuga clan was in trouble, the Uchiha clan would stand up to speak for him, and he couldn't believe it. But now, he believed it. And also grateful. Baiyi knew this very well. Everything is the scene that happened in the original book, which is very familiar to people. Cloud Shinobi village came to negotiate, trying in vain to obtain the secret of White Eyes. But the plan was shattered, Hinata was rescued, and Cloud Shinobi village bit back and asked them to hand over the body of the Hyuga clan chief. In the end, under pressure, Hyuga Hiyashi's younger brother Hyuga Hizashi covered the patriarch, which made Hyuga Neji, who lost his father at a young age, look unpleasant to Hinata. The impact of the incident was not small, and finally Neji realized that his father was willing to commit suicide before letting go of his grievances. But, is this really the case? Baiyi scoffed. Can live, who wants to die? And no one finds it strange. The official statement given by third generation after that is that Hyuga Hizashi is willing to give his life for the village, is a person with the will of fire and is worthy of respect. But does this have anything to do with the will of fire? You are sure that it is not because of the mission of the branch house that even if you are willing to die in the end, it is for the clan, not for you Konoha. How can people who can live are willing to die? It's not because of pressure from high-level people that I have to do it. Not to mention, as a Hokage, it is so frustrating to have to sacrifice the people of your own village to keep peace and quiet. Cloud Shinobi village took the initiative to provoke trouble without paying any price. On the contrary, it is the victim who commits suicide. As expected of what you can do, Bai Yi looked at Sarutobi with admiration for a moment. One thing to say, he can't do this kind of thing. He could not agree with this will of fire. Therefore, he is willing to bow down. Captain Bai Yi, this matter has nothing to do with the guards, not you. This conflict has risen to the village-to-village level, and you have no right to interfere. Without waiting for Hyuga Hiyashi to complain, third generation interrupted the conversation between the two and said coldly. It's okay. Bai Yi chuckled and waved his hand. It's not really what Hokage-sama can say. What's the meaning? Sarutobi frowned. But Bai Yi didn't even bother to look at him, instead he spoke slowly to Az. Just now, my manor was attacked. News from my sister. 2 more news from Wooden Golem. Az looked sullen. Think of the action tonight. In fact, when Bai Yi appeared here, he already instinctively felt that something was wrong and had a bad premonition. Well, but it's not a coincidence that they came. I'm drinking tea in the yard. Bai Yi said lightly. So, I slaughtered a few people and caught a cat. Killed several people and caught a cat. Such a light-hearted description of an extremely terrifying thing. Atsushi knew what the mission was about. Also know who the person who attacked Uchiha Bai Yi's house was. The one who led the team was Erwei Jinchuriki. The entire Cloud Shinobi village is the most powerful existence except for Raikage-sama and Killer Bee-sama. Hey, from Cloud Shinobi village, do you think this has anything to do with me? Bai Yi patted Az on the shoulder with a smile and asked. Yes. And it matters a lot. Az looked solemn. I think now Captain Bai Yi is qualified to participate in this incident about the killing of the Cloud Shinobi village messenger. What happened? In this situation, 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen was stunned. What are these two talking about? Why does he feel like an outsider? Captain Bai Yi, I think we need to have a good chat. Taking a step forward, Az seemed to have grown a lot at this moment, gritted her teeth and said with anger. That's Neo Jinchuriki. The importance of the round is even several grades higher than that of his sister. He can handle this whole thing. God knows what a loss to Cloud Shinobi village to lose a Jinchuriki. You want to talk? What are you? Bai Yi looked up and down Az mockingly. Az's body trembled, and his anger almost exploded, but he still forcibly held back. It's about the friendly relationship between the two villages. Captain Bai Yi must communicate and negotiate with me. Cloud Shinobi village can't afford to lose a Jinchuriki. Sorry, I'm not interested. Bai Yi yawned and lacked interest. Az frowned and was puzzled. Shouldn't the lion speak for the benefit at this time? Snapped. A good sound is a good ear. No reason, because our captain is off work. Didn't you GCR captain yawning? I'll talk about it tomorrow. I'm still G asking, is it annoying? Uchiha Kong was furious, and with a rounded arm, he gave Az a big slap. Bai Yi smiled and waved after nodding to Hyuga Hiyashi. Close the team, get off work. Chapter 23 Rich Rewards, The Road to Hemiplegia. Congratulations, Master Host, for conscientiously completing the duties of a guard captain, and the reward is being calculated. Congratulations, Master Host, Strength plus 8 cards, Constitution plus 7 cards, Endurance plus 7 cards, Speed plus 6 cards, Mental Strength plus 9 cards. Congratulations to Host Sama for increasing the amount of chakra by 1 shukuru. Congratulations to Host Sama for adding 1 Uchiha Obito. Congratulations to Master Host, Self-Disciplined Guard Captain, Quest evaluation has been greatly improved. The rewards after leaving office have been greatly improved. Bai Yi, who had worked overtime, nodded in satisfaction. Host. Uchiha Bai Yi. Age. 19. Strength. 186 plus. Speed. 220 plus. Constitution. 196 plus. Stamina. 208 plus. Mental power. 171 plus. Charm. Unparalleled in the world. Taking a cursory glance at his basic panel, Bai Yi smiled slightly. If the improvement of Kakashi is less than 1, a plus sign will appear after the attribute. The plus sign itself is like a progress bar. When the progress bar overflows, it is equivalent to increasing the strength of Kakashi by another. The amount of chakra, the power of ninjutsu, the strength of taijutsu, etc. are listed as special attributes, which can be felt intuitively by themselves. So the basic panel doesn't mean Baiyi's real fighting power. Unlike the daily training plan, which is less than a Kakashi's boost, this time the night patrol mission has given an intuitive boost to Kakashi. Such a reward is not unreasonable. But this wasn't what Baiyi cared about the most. What he valued was the improvement in mission evaluation brought about by this operation. Self-disciplined captain of the guard as a long-term quest, the quest rewards start to accumulate the moment it is activated. It is hard to imagine how much the reward pool has accumulated now. Perhaps only at the moment of resignation, Baiyi can feel that power. But obviously, he is still in the process of accumulating, and he is not in any hurry to get that reward. After all, now the ninja world plot is still advancing. Although there was a small-scale collapse due to Baiyi's intervention, there was no deviation in the general direction. What's more, even if the plot collapses completely, with Baiyi's strength, I don't worry that there will be too much impact. I'm going to have a baby. Moon stars are rare. After working hard, Baiyi hugged the girl at home and counted the rewards and his various abilities. A twist on the side. Yu Hong's pretty face was bright, and her eyes dimly reminded in a low voice. Although he didn't refuse and didn't mind leaving a descendant to Baiyi, Hong Yuhi was worried that Baiyi was still young and would cause him trouble. Baiyi shook his head without explaining. Some things need to be felt slowly, and his descendants are destined to be extraordinary and not so easy to be born. It's not going to be peaceful tonight. But this has nothing to do with Baiyi. Self-discipline is like him, and naturally he will not be affected by small things. A good day starts with good quality sleep. To a certain extent, AFA before bed can indeed improve the quality of sleep. Kurenai Yuhi took this very seriously. The next day, early morning, Baiyi enjoyed the rising sun, stretched out his arms against the light, and stretched his body on the Hokage Yanyan. He likes to enjoy life. And be confident. That is to say that life is not so much a mundane day-to-day composition. Rather, life itself is a continuous miracle. Baiyi likes everything now. Patrol at work every day, lead the team to fish, watch the younger brothers brag and fart, and clean up the garbage that doesn't follow the rules. Accompanied by Rosie. There are friends who are not intimate, but can talk to. What else is there to be unsatisfied with? This is his very fulfilling daily life. So, it's pretty obvious. If one day, someone destroys his favorite routine, it will definitely end badly. Guy, report to the guards today. Accompanied by the system beep. Baiyi's daily exercise program has ended. Lighting a cigarette, Baiyi looked at the man next to him. Might Guy. Friends who are not close friends, but can talk to each other, friends who respect and appreciate each other. It was him who said it. Unlike others, he never considers those who specialize in physique to be fools. That is to say, starting today, I will call you Captain. Guy showed his big teeth and nodded heavily. One code is one code. Although he has a good relationship with Baiyi, the relationship between superiors and subordinates must be followed when working. By the way, do you think the brothers in the guard can practice 8 inner gates? Cigarettes passed through the lungs, Baiyi asked curiously. This is one of his ideas. As the plot progresses, it is obvious that in the future, looking for trouble in the village, the strength of those who break the rules will be stronger. Although the strength of the guards is good, they belong to the elite of Uchiha, but they will not be enough in the future. The real superiors never do everything by themselves, which is somewhat inconsistent with Baiyi's purpose of enjoying life. But the problem is that there is something wrong with the people of the Uchiha clan. That is, the strength is improving, and we have to move in the direction of mental illness. It's not a wise choice to use illusion to stimulate your subordinates and force them to open their eyes. The powers that they gain hastily also strongly affects their IQ. Guy fell into thought. Baiyi was not in a hurry and waited patiently. Regarding the 8 inner gates in the original book, Some people say that it was researched by Might Dai, and some people say that this trick is marked in the Book of Seals, and it was researched by second Hokage. Each has its own statement. But here, Bai Yi is convinced that the concept of 8 inner gates was proposed by second generation, but the perfection must be Might Dai, and then passed on to Might Gai. Because before Might wore it, no one could implement true self-discipline, not even second generation himself. It's not that you can't teach. After holding it for a long time, Might Gai scratched his head and said an answer that made Bai Yi happy. However, I think the external practice of the 8 gate, the internal practice of the writing wheel, and the combination of chakra refining. There is no doubt that these 3 methods are all training methods that consume potential. I think this is making the Uchiha family go further and further on the road of hemiplegia. Body, IQ, cells. Bai Yi was stunned. After a while of silence, he finally let out a long sigh and waved his hand. I finally gave up my idea. Forget it, it's better to train basic physical fitness. Go back to wash and go to work. Chapter 24. Meet again, teacher and disciple. Ninja World. Fire Country. Konoha Shinobi Village. Since the outbreak of the Third Ninja World War and the Nine Tails Rebellion, the village has calmed down, and there are very few big news. But when a new day comes, several news suddenly spread, and the content of the news can easily arouse everyone's shock. The first one is about the Cloud Shinobi Village messengers. I heard that the ninjas who went to Cloud Shinobi Village last night tried to kidnap the little princess of the Hyuga clan and were killed on the spot. It was also rumored that Cloud Shinobi Village had kicked back and tried to use it as a threat to force the third generation to issue some kind of order, but this action was diffused by the guards that followed. In other words, the guards led by Uchiha Bai Yi once again contributed to the village. In contrast, it highlights Hokage's inaction. People are secretly circulating some news. There is always a subtle comparison between Uchiha Bai Yi and Sarutobi Hiruzen. The first news at the moment. The second one is about Konoha. Compared with the previous news, this one is absolutely good news. One of Konoha's Sanin, the granddaughter of first Hokage Senju Hashirama and second Hokage Senju Tobarama, Tsunade Heim recognized in the ninja world, has returned to the village. This is exciting news. It has been a few years since the fall of Senju in the Second Ninja War and Tsunade left Konoha disheartened. But no one will forget Tsunade's name. Compared to the other two in Sanin, Tsunade's influence is clearly greater. As a descendant of the Senju clan, she represents the spiritual totem of Konoha to some extent. Rumor has it that she has returned to the village now, and is currently serving as the captain of the medical team of the Konoha Guard. The villagers looked hopeful. Master Tsunade returns to the village. Does this represent a good sign that Konoha will return to the peak? I really want to know what Tsunade-sama is doing, and I really want to admire the demeanor of Tsunade-sama. This is what people really think. But in the meanwhile, buy and leave. A certain street in Muyi Fanhua. In the largest casino, a cool and bold voice came. The gamblers looked at the woman who casually splurges the banknotes in disbelief. Is this Tsunade-sama? My God, this is too dedicated. Come over early in the morning to gamble. Damn, as expected of Mr. Tsunade, I'm far behind. Yes. Tsunade-sama, who has no chance of gambling, is now immersed in the sea of gambling and cannot extricate himself. Having just experienced the return of her relatives, she naturally couldn't hold back and wanted to relax. As for what bullshit conspiracy theory? Go away. Now she just wants to have a good time. Those issues are just waiting to be dealt with. After all, I just returned to the village, and there are too many actions that will always arouse suspicion. She always finds reasons for herself. Far away, crouching at the window of the casino, a hunched body is standing there. At this time, third generation's face was stunned, and she looked in shock at the woman whose pretty face was blushing, as if she was getting wet from the fun of gambling. That really is Tsunade. Why is she here? The whole third generation is stupid. One thing to say, when he heard the news that Tsunade was returning to the village, he naturally regarded the news as a prank. But when he came over to see himself, he was completely messed up. Tsunade is really back. What is the situation? Not only did she come back, but she also became a member of the most troublesome guard unit. As a disciple who doesn't know what respect is, could it be that he made some kind of deal with Uchiha Baiyi? When it comes to Tsunade's return to the village, he is naturally the most nervous. The reason is also very simple. Why was Sarutobi Hiruzen able to gracefully ascend to the throne of Hokage after the death of Namikaze Minato? And in the original book, he can even oppress the Hyuga clan to make friends, and condone Danzo's shot at Uchiha, causing the Konoha to be smoky, but sitting in Hokage's position very stably. The answer is that, looking at the entire Konoha, during the period when Xiaoqiang grew up, even Kakashi was not qualified and unable to take over Hokage's position. Interesting to come. So what happened to Konoha in order to achieve Mu Yi Qing's unacceptable achievement? Hitaki Tsukumo committed suicide. Tsunade leaves disappointed. Namikaze Minato sacrificed. Orochimaru defected, and Jiraiya left Konoha following Orochimaru's figure. Anyone with a little level of young people who may be on the Hokage position will basically not end well. If you say it doesn't matter here, the dog won't believe it. Now, a person who is enough to threaten his position has appeared. Tsunade returns to the village, much to his surprise. What is she going to do? With other purposes. You know, recently his Hokage's reputation has been very general. And last night, the way Hyuga Hiyashi looked at himself changed, he knew it wasn't a good sign. But who would have thought that the guards would suddenly step in last night? His original intention, of course, was to make the Hyuga family pay the price, and at the same time to appease the messenger of Cloud Shinobi Village. On the one hand, it can suppress the ambition of the Hyuga family and weaken the power of the Hyuga family in disguise. On the other hand, it can knock the mountain and shake the tiger, so that the recently inflated Uchiha family can be honest. This was supposed to kill two birds with one stone, but it was all destroyed. Taking advantage of Tsunade's return, the Hyuga family turned to Tsunade to support her successor as Hokage. Thinking about how to solve Tsunade's problem. A loud noise caught the attention of third generation and looked up. As expected of Tsunade-sama, I lost 5 million early in the morning. Yes, that's right. Master Tsunade is the fastest loser I've seen. The voices of admiration came one after another. Tsunade flushed with anger, rolled his eyes, dropped the dice and walked towards the door. Yes. 5 million. If you didn't hold on to it in the morning, you lost it all. Tsunade is chilling. I thought that the daily limit of 5 million bets was very high, but I didn't know it was so hard to play. Actually, this is normal. After all, as a traveler, Baiyi knows a lot about how to play, and this casino is the industry under his name. There are many things Tsunade has never played. Coupled with her characteristic of losing every gamble, 5 million is obviously not enough. Facing the sun, Tsunade walked to the door and stretched. She knew that the people who played with her in the casino were all recruited by Uchiha Baiyi. But people are not out of 1,000, and she won't say anything if she wins by her strength. In short, pretty fun to play. Out of the corner of her eye, she sneered at the corner of her mouth and turned her head to look at a figure. He is getting old. But since you are old, why not die? You're back. With a kind smile on his face, Sarutobi greeted him very kindly with the appearance of an elder. Do you have time? The old man wants to chat with you. He is confident. As long as he poses like this, even if Tsunade is dissatisfied with himself, he will agree to his request by adhering to the characteristics of respecting the teacher and valuing the Tao. After all, so many people around are watching. As a descendant of Senju, she was able to lead by example. Just a pity. Tsunade just glanced at him, then strode away with a flick of his cloak. In the air, Tsunade Heim's lazy words floated. I'm not free, my mother is going to work at the hour. The captain of my family said that the salary will be deducted for being late. Chapter 25 The Great Love Between Mr. Tree and Mr. Itachi. Konoha. Behind the guard unit, on the training ground that was bought by Baiyi. At this time, the members of the security force had assembled and divided into 2 brigades. In front of one of the brigade, Might Guy pulled his neck and waved his arms, then blushed and roared. The thunderous sound made the scalp tingle. But the brothers in the guard didn't feel embarrassed or anything like that. A roar followed. Far away, Bai Yi sat on the Taishi chair made for him, drinking tea calmly. It was the right decision to have Might Guy on the guard. Just looking at his ability to drive emotions is very admirable. Certainly. When Bai Yi's eyes swept to the unlovable Uchiha Itachi, a smile appeared on the captain's face. At this time, Itachigo looked at the expression of who I am, where am I, and I want to go home, and it is not difficult to analyze his mental journey. Very contradictory. But must obey. This is a process that members who have just joined the guard must go through. Youth. When Ah Guy made a one-handed handstand in an understatement, the members who followed the training also learned the same way. The scene is quite harmonious. Brother-in-law, I want to go too. Naoki on the side seemed to be infected by the emotions of the big guy's drill, and he made his request very intentionally. At this time, Bai Yi had put on black pupils, and the single guyu that flashed from time to time seemed to have defined his identity. Not in a hurry. Bai Yi leaned back on the chair lazily. Wait a while, when your sister comes, tell her yourself. Naoki now belongs to the guard reserve. Like Itachi, he looks young for his age. So I can't be an official team member. He didn't mind Naoki exercising with him, but he had to say hello to big brother Tsunade. This is the only male in the direct line of the Senju clan. The important task of revitalizing the family in the future can be placed on his shoulders. Looking up and down Naoki, Bai Yi's eyes were a little complicated. You like that boy named Uchiha Itachi? Yes. When Bai Yi came to work in Kaka in the morning, he found something interesting unexpectedly. As a direct descendant of the Senju clan, this boy who should have died has an inexplicable affinity. This is also in line with the description in Tsunade's original book. After all, Tsunade has a crush on Naruto because Naruto resembles her younger brother. So naturally, the familiar Naoki hooked up with his similar age Uchiha Itachi. Yes, Itachi-san is a very nice person, he just doesn't like to talk. Naoki said with emotion. Bai Yi was silent. He wasn't worried that Naoki's 3 views were taken away by Uchiha Itachi, but he was just curious about Naoki's actions. As for the 3 perspectives, it is estimated that Uchiha Itachi can't handle Naoki's type of people at all. For the sake of the Senju family, you'd better not have too much physical contact with him. Well, it is better to have too much physical contact. Bai Yi reminded politely. Today, because he was going to bring Ah Guy here and introduce Ah Guy's new identity to everyone, he didn't go home to take a shower, but simply took a shower in the large bathhouse of the guard. But when he and Ah Guy saw that the sunny boy was wiping the back of Uchiha Itachi, Bai Yi and Ah Guy couldn't help but look at each other and saw the solemn look in each other's eyes. He is also the illegitimate child of the captain. We must not let the situation develop. We must have a good G chat with the child. Coincidentally, looking away, Bai Yi saw that Tsunade was walking over with Shizune. But behind them was an uninvited guest. Just by looking at third generation's confused eyes and heavy bags under his eyes, he knew that this old man with kidney deficiency didn't sleep well at all yesterday. FKU, I want to tell you something. Directly and selectively ignoring Sarutobi Hiruzen, Bai Yi grabbed Tsunade's soft little hand with a solemn expression. Tsunade's tender body trembled, and the corners of his mouth twitched stiffly. She wanted to refute the title. But the look behind her was extremely uncomfortable. Yes. Temporarily cover up Naoki's identity. After all, when Naoki came to report yesterday, he had already claimed that he was the illegitimate child of her and Bai Yi. But what she couldn't figure out was that Naoki still called Bai Yi her brother-in-law until now. According to him, it is different. Although I am an illegitimate child, I am also a brother-in-law. That's probably what it means. Baby's father, you have something to say. Tsunade awkwardly wanted to withdraw his hand, but even her strength was still not enough to see in front of Bai Yi, so Bai Yi could only pull it. That kid fell in love with Uchiha Itachi. Bai Yi said solemnly. Uchiha Itachi. A girl from the Uchiha family. Isn't that nice? She hadn't returned to Konoha for many years, and she didn't realize the seriousness of the problem at all. As far as she knew, the girls in Uchiha were pretty good. The one named Makoto is very gentle and generous. Tsunade blinked, somewhat confused. Coincidentally, when Tsunade wondered, a guy announced that the morning exercise was over, and everyone took a short 5-minute break. Naturally, Itachi, who saw third generation coming over, leaned over and seemed to want to hear what these people were talking about. But when he got close, Naoki's eyes lit up, and he stepped forward to stop him. Itachi-san. The training is hard. Come and drink some water. After speaking, he picked up the water hyacinth around his waist without hesitation, unscrewed the bottle cap and handed it to Itachi's mouth. It's too close, Sangshu. Itachi's expression changed, and he wanted to take 2 steps back in horror. He really didn't know how to deal with this man whose brain circuits were different from ordinary people. This kind of person is more exaggerated than Might Guy instructor. That kind of shoveling up to you from time to time, like I understand you, gave Uchiha Itachi a splitting headache. Only when he was about to step back, I felt a sharp gaze looking at myself. Lord Third Generation. Looking at it inadvertently, Uchiha Itachi's face turned pale, and he stopped stiffly. At this time, Sarutobi is recovering from the confusion. Tsunade has a baby. Is the child his father or Uchiha Bai Yi? Lousy didn't F*********** G wake up. Who is this kid? Why did I feel a familiar aura on him? Must find out his identity. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was eager to know the answer, directly told Uchiha Itachi to approach Naoki with his eyes and get information from him. Itachi's body trembled. After pondering the third generation's sight, he looked at Mito solemnly. Through the faint smell of chives, he swears that there are residues left after the young sunshine boy next to him ate the buns. That's it. Third generation Sama said. It's all for the village. As soon as he gritted his teeth, his eyes were red, and a drop of crystal tears fell. Itachi held his breath and picked up Mito and sighed. Haha, good brother. Naoki was overjoyed, grabbed the water bottle and sighed. Judging from the expression he was savoring, he seemed to sense a certain smell, and in surprise he gave Itachi-san a hug. At this moment, Tsunade was silent. Bai Yi was also silent. Shizune opened his mouth wide, as if wondering if he could accommodate Bai Yi's shape. The whole place was silent. Only third generation's eyes flickered. This is the great love between Mr. Tree and Mr. Itachi.